Well, hello, Parapeeps, and welcome to another episode of our Haunted Travels Behind the Haunting Live. Had a little bit of glitchy there. So, while we're getting started, let me make sure things are working right. Please leave a comment in the comment section whether you can see us and hear us okay. Because on our end, it's kind of like iffy. We're a little iffy. Looks good over here, over there. It's saying, not so much. Wasn't your mother said I rub my hands too much?
Yes. She said that we both do.
It's a sound test.
She said we both do it a lot.
Tonight we're talking about East Cemetery Hill and Behind the Haunting. It's going to be exciting.
I think it's hilarious. I was saying hello to some people in there in the chat, and when I went to say the one person, it wanted to put me in. So it wanted to send myself a message.
Yeah?
Yeah. So Small Town says we're doing good.
All right. Okay, so who we got here? We got Small Town, we got Sid Harth, Virginia Fisherman, Mary Ellen Clark. Thank you, by the way, for that comment, and you're actually going to be part of the show here later on. That was an awesome comment. All right. Is that it? PSPR. Did I miss anybody? That's your job. Why am I doing that?
I don't know why you're doing it. Sid's here.
I know, because I kind of figured out how to put the chat up over here.
Oh, Sid's here. It's later in the morning for him.
Good morning.
Yeah, remember,
well,
usually
now
he gets
we're
up,
okay. Stream status
usually
okay.
He gets up at like 2 o'clock in the morning to watch us, so it's a little bit later now, so it's probably later in the morning, so he's probably wide awake now. Oh, goodness gracious. Virginia Fisherman. Tracy's here.
So I was going to do an opening like, it's dark outside, the lights are green. You should know, my friends, what that means.
Oh, you're sick.
That's why I didn't do it. Because you would have laughed at me.
Like I just did?
I had to invite the frogs.
Oh, okay.
We need the frogs.
So I don't think you told them who we are today.
Well, we don't normally do that on here.
We don't do that on here?
No, but go ahead.
Okay.
You can tell them who we are, because it looks
right.
like we got some new people in the house.
This is Sean Donnelly over here.
Oh,
and
that
Mary
part.
Ann
Oh,
Donnelly.
wait a minute. I am your host, Sean Donnelly.
I'm your co-host, Mary Ann Donnelly.
We've been busy all day, folks. I hope you love this show, because we've been busy putting this stuff together. We kept finding something new and like, oh, are you kidding me? Wait till you guys see this stuff. This is going to be awesome. There is one thing I wanted to do. I don't know that you can do it, but I'm going to try this. We have something new, and those joining us today is actually going to hear about it. Well, some of our moderators, our normal moderators, already know about this, but we have a Discord server. And I'm going to post that right now in our chat and invite all of you to join our Discord server, because it's going to tie into Behind the Haunting. We have posted some links and pictures out there on our Discord server based on some of the research that we've done. Let me stop that.
What are you stopping? Oh, yeah, that's probably not helping.
So, I wonder if that'll keep that in there.
Maybe.
Let's do this. And I'll post it here.
What's that?
That's our link to our Discord server.
Oh.
Which, by the way, I have to get you on yet.
Yeah. I'm not even a member, guys.
She's not a member yet, but we'll get it. So, should we put her in there? Should we have her use it as Panic D, which most of the social media, with the exception of Facebook. Well, Facebook, we kind of do different. We use our personal, but we have the business.
Uh-huh.
But most other social media, Instagram and all that other stuff, we just use Panic D.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I should
Except
put you
for
in
on
Discord
here.
as Panic D, and here you're Mary Ann
And
Donnelly.
here I'm Mary Ann Donnelly.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
So, Small Town says can't figure out Discord. So
basically, if you download it like on your phone, or you can actually do a web-based, or you could download the app on your computer. But in order to join other people's servers, you have to have that invite link what I posted there, or you could set up your own server. And we decided to go that route. I wanted to set something up to kind of keep the discussion going for when we're not live and things like that with the community. And a couple of them that we belong to, like Pusha Studios and Mike Ferrer and things like that, they ran into their community getting over 50, and it doesn't work on Twitter. And it doesn't work on, so a lot of the big boys use Discord too, so I figured while we're starting out, we're really tiny, we might as well set up Discord server now and get everybody over into that. So, but on Virtual Ghost Hunt, Bill and I are going to be doing some videos on Discord and stuff, because some people have mentioned to me, I can't figure that out. So once I get it all figured out, I'm going to make some videos and put them over there to help people out. So, anybody else? Any other questions yet?
We had Virginia Fisherman wanted to know what got us into ghost hunting. So I put that it was accidental. I took you on a vacation, and we went on a night tour of a lighthouse.
Yeah, we got hooked. We actually started out getting hooked on ghost tours, and then one thing led to another, and the creation of panicd.com, the database of over 800 different locations across the United States, started. And that led into us going out. Well, the research part started first, going out and finding information about the haunted locations and things like that. And then we started going out and doing more ghost hunting. And then the big one that was the big turning point for us was we took a rather large group with Dark Shadow Ghost Tours, actually 50 people on a bus. We took the Hillview Manor and was doing some... Oh, you're setting up Discord?
I don't know. We'll see.
What says you're logged in as us anyways?
Oh,
already.
It is? Oh.
I think so.
It said that
oh,
Panic D invited
okay.
us to
Go
join.
ahead, set it up. Go ahead, do it now while we're live. Why not?
Why not, right?
Why not? So
well, the one with...
that kind of led into it, and then, before you know it, we've been to over 200 locations. I don't know, probably 300-400 investigations. I don't know. We've been to so many different locations multiple times, and... to reinvestigate and do things, and then private residence investigations, and we didn't keep track of those. So now it's back to us, our haunted travels. So that's the short version.
The long and short I've been.
Yeah. The long and short.
All right. So I don't know. I probably just messed all that up. So we'll see. All right. So, let's see what I missed while I was there. No way. Small Town Investigations says that they're leaving on Sunday to go to the Villisca House.
That's awesome. That's on our bucket list. We just have to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like in the middle of nowhere.
Well,
I mean, considering like
that's
the
in
big,
Iowa.
Yeah.
Isn't that an Iowa small town? I think it's in Iowa.
Pretty sure it's Iowa. But pretty much, like, the biology conferences just go all over the edges. We don't seem to go too far inland.
Yeah. We got to figure out how to get there, but...
Yeah. Oh, well. But that's super cool, small town. You'll have to give us all kinds of lowdowns and tidbits. We'll be waiting for them.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so do we want to get started?
So, do you want to...
Or do you want to hang around for a little bit longer?
Do we do roll call on the
we could.
Haunting?
We could. We've been live for
About
9.5 minutes.
Yeah. So, the list has gotten shorter.
It's because we're rambling on and people are dropping off.
No, they just haven't said anything in a while. You know how that drops them off. And
if you guys are in the chat watching, please go ahead and say something so that we can give you guys props for being here.
Yeah. So... We have PSPR is in the house, and Small Town Investigations. Tracy's here. Virginia Fisherman's here. I know Sid is here.
Sid Arth was here.
Who else has dropped off? Andrew, Irish Whiskey.
Mary Ellen Clark was here.
Yes.
I mentioned her.
Yeah. If I missed anybody else, because I couldn't remember, because I have a short-term memory these days, please just let us know. All right. Mary Ellen Clark says she is here. Sid said that he just saw many pictures we posted in Discord. You posted a bunch of stuff?
Yes, I did. I posted
me?
the pictures in Discord. I can bring them up later.
That's all right. You can do that.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's just gonna...
Chris Mohan, Irish Whiskey, still here. All
Chris
right.
Mohan's here.
Yep.
Hi, Chris.
Okay, guys, I've got some new peeps dropping in, so I'm going to drop that link again to our Discord server. Because some of the links that we've used for some of this research, we posted in there, too. And as soon as she brings it up, I'll tell you actually what chat group it was in.
I'm sorry.
No, your Discord.
Oh, I was...
say that.
Thanks. We sent a confirmation email to... Of course it did. Now I have
Just
to go to
close
that
that.
email.
No, it seems like it's on. Yeah, you're in. So
Oh.
click on... What's that say over there? Research.
I don't know.
Go back to that.
I didn't touch anything.
Minimize that, please.
Minimize this.
Yeah, over there. It says research, info, and discussion.
Nope. Don't see it.
Right there.
Oh, okay.
It's all good.
Well,
There you
there's
go.
a picture of us.
Oh, people are dropping off this chat left and right.
Stop it. They
We
are
need to
not.
get rolling.
Yes.
Ready?
You did put a lot of pictures out there.
I
Wow.
did. All right, so tonight we are talking about East Cemetery Hill. I will bring up our Discord here later on in the show and show you some of those pictures that she was just looking at here. But
I had to catch up to the fans.
yeah, had to get caught up. But anyways, if you guys haven't caught our last few videos, I don't believe I put the links in the description. However, if you go back the last 2 videos, roughly, we did an investigation at East Cemetery Hill, and yesterday or today, I can't remember when it was. This morning.
This morning.
It's all a big blur. When I'm on vacation, I just don't. I shut off the alarm clock. I go to bed when I want to and get up when I want to. That's the best part about vacation. Yeah, it came out this morning. So what I did was I took our live stream, because when we did the investigation, we went live. So I took the live stream, cut it up a little bit, and put some of the interpretation that we had in. And that's our first video that we put out that is our interpretation of the evidence in video format.
Yeah, because all the other ones we've just done it sitting here chatting.
Yeah, or we only had pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was actually in video format. So I hope to do more of those. You know, we don't have a lot of video. We didn't start actually recording a lot of that video or any video on investigations, really, except for little snippets here and there, until the Hotel Conneaut.
True.
That was after we started the YouTube channel, so that's why I started doing video.
Yeah. You did a little bit when we were in Springfield.
But snippets. Those are snippets. But I meant the whole investigation, and then go back and pick it out. And I think this is what the SB7 said, and I think this is what the Ovilus said.
Yeah.
Bottle caps.
Wow, Delia's Guppy, Hello Kitten.
Oh, we're getting rated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's all the Pusa Studios. I see all the little hashtags. Thanks, you guys.
Pusa Studios in the house.
Pauline
with love.
Newman.
Pusa with love.
Now, Pauline Newman, I didn't know. Do you know Pauline Newman? She was on the live stream this morning with Michael.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my mom's like,
check her out.
oh, Pauline Newman. And I'm like, I don't even know Pauline Newman, do I?
Wow, we're getting...
Yes,
welcome,
look
everybody.
At that. Everybody's
Welcome.
here. Look at that.
Hey, while everyone's here, I'm going to post a link to our Discord again.
All right, you do that, and then it's hashtag. It looks like from Pusha. It's with Pusa with love.
With Pusha
and
with love.
we're the hashtag Pear Peeps, so that's cool. Love it. Nice to see you guys.
Thanks for the raid.
Yeah.
Thanks for the love. Appreciate it.
All kinds of people. A-OK, Foraging and Adventures.
I popped in.
Toy Man's here.
I popped in for about 10 minutes
Instant
earlier when we were
replay.
taking a break while Marianne was getting supper ready. And,
Yeah.
you guys were like rocking and rolling, man. I think you hit 60. I think it was 66. Right, you probably got more than that, but then we had to drop off and get things finished up. But And great job, by the way. Pusha Studios went over 2,000. Probably broke the. I think I saw they were 2,050. That's awesome.
Nice. Yeah,
they're
awesome. Great.
That's awesome. You guys well deserve that. So it'd be 20,000 here in no time.
Oh, I'm trying to type and think and smile, and I keep pushing the wrong buttons.
Donnie Shaw Show in the house. Hello.
All kinds of everybody coming to visit.
Wow.
So nice to see you guys.
How many got watching now? 28.
28.
I think that's a new record.
I think that's a new record for our live
Panic D
streams.
videos.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys,
Thank
you know,
you.
we're getting ready to talk about East Cemetery Hill. We did an investigation there. Tracy, I don't know if you saw her comment because this was just like scrolling by.
I know.
Quick.
It's like,
I saw it. She complimented us on the editing, and
I missed that one.
I did talk to PSPR offline earlier, and I think the consensus, and there's a question we'll ask at the end too. We may try to do more of those. People seem to want to see those, so just have to make sure that we have proper lighting and get proper video during investigations.
Oh, PSPR
is 819. Hey guys, everyone in here, show PSPR some love, because I said our project, which is Virtual Ghost Hunt, which is going to be starting here very soon, it would be nice for both of us to say, here's how we hit 1,000, and help other small YouTubers, especially paranormal channels, with some suggestions and stuff to help them. And so show him some love. He's we've been working back and forth. He's got some great stuff over there on his. Actually, I'm taking some tips from his videos on how to put those investigation reviews together.
So Bottle Caps said he wants to play Ghost Pictionary tonight. I said not tonight, Bottle Caps, unless Sean overrides me.
Bottle Caps, tonight we are talking about a Behind the Haunting, which we're going to go over all the research and stuff why we believe this place is haunted, the East Cemetery Hill in Gettysburg. However, if you promise to come back Saturday live at 5, we will play Ghost Pictionary. We haven't set what we were going to do, and I will say, because of Bottle Caps, we're playing Ghost Pictionary. I promise you, we're going to do that. So that's what we're doing Saturday.
All right.
Ghost Pictionary.
4 bottle caps.
4 bottle caps. So you got to come back and play.
Oh, goodness.
Wow. Hello, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we have to have a good show then tonight.
I guess so. Wow. We got all kinds of peeps in the house now. And I keep missing all this stuff. It's just flying by.
All right, you look at the chat for any questions or anything like that, and we'll go over participants. Holy cow! Let's do a roll call again.
All right, go ahead.
All right, we got 2448 Toy Man in the house.
Man.
You're probably better at this because I can't pronounce.
Alejandro Perez, AOK Foraging and Adventures, Bottle Caps, Cami SS, Copyright Free Music, Dila's Guppies, Dooney Addict 615, Farmall Fanatic, Hell's Kitchen was on the mind there. Oops. Hell Kitten, Instant Rye Play, Replay. It would be Instant Replay. Loch Ness Sword, MU free music for your videos. Pauline Newman, Philip Cockram. PSPR, Pusha Studios, Remy Moore, Small Town Investigations.
Wow.
We have
we did break a record.
Outside, Tracy.
Thank you, Pusha Studios.
Tara
that is awesome.
Emerson, The Donnie Shaw Show, Virginia Fisherman, and of course, there were a whole bunch of us who were here earlier that
did you get
probably
Heavy Metal
dropped
Magnet?
off. No, I didn't. That one they just must have popped in. Just out and about. Irish whiskey.
How do you guys do this every night?
I don't know. My goodness. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys.
We have 30 people
How do you do
watching
that?
now.
Heart, much love.
Yeah. And
you need
we
to
definitely...
you need to make him
little,
do a heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
Something like
got a big heart from Boris.
Yeah.
If we don't knock him over.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. There's his little heart there. Yeah. So normally we don't have this many. We usually have about half that on a,
See what Bottle Cap said?
No, I'm still listed on the participants right here. What did Bottle Cap say? What did he say? I'm missing it. Nice. All right. Thank you, Bottle Caps.
Well, thank you for everybody joining in.
Yes,
and,
thank you so much.
Let's get started with the show,
Sid's still
shall we?
here, yay.
Let's get started with this.
Let's do it.
All right, so, again, tonight we are talking about East Cemetery Hill in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. This is a Behind the Hauntings by Panic D, which basically means we are going to go over this location in much more detail and show you some of the research that we have found and put out there to you guys in the group, and ask you some of your theories why you think this location is haunted.
Yeah, and we'll be going over a couple of the individuals who could potentially be tied to this location as one of the entities as well.
That's right.
So that's kind of the idea of Behind the Haunting.
That is right. So, just a little bit of housekeeping before we get rolling here. We are live, so there is no editing available, and I apologize in advance for me just stumbling my words or saying something stupid. Everybody in the house, do us a favor. Share this out on your social media right now and tell them, hey, there's this awesome live stream from a skeleton in the background that's showing hearts to everybody. Go ahead and share it out. Let's see if we could get... I don't see how we could get more in here without breaking the internet. This is crazy. It's a bullet point, folks. I had to say it. That's all right.
Yeah, but everybody in there, they like your Reese's shirt.
Cups.
And they're now hungry for Reese's, too. I've seen it a couple times as we hit through there.
All right, so all content being presented tonight will be linked below as well as on panicd.com once we get all that stuff together, and in our Discord, which, by the way, I have this link right here and I can paste it out right now. Go ahead and hop on over and join our Discord server because we have a section in there where we're putting links.
Yes, and Hannah has just popped in, and she was telling us about some things that she experienced here at this location, too.
That's coming up later in the show here. So what we're going to do is we're going to present the story and have some discussion and respond to any comments or questions or anything that we have in the story as we go through, and that's basically how this works. Just do want to ask one thing. We're going to give a question at the end. We're going to ask you to please come back after this live stream has rendered and answer that question. That'll help us out, and it helps out the logarithm and all that stuff with YouTube. You guys know that. If you're creators, you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. All right. So, here we go.
On with the show.
On with the show.
All right.
Is that thunder? Oh, does it get better? All right, so, and I didn't set this up, but we are talking about a location. I don't know if they could see my mouse, maybe not. But if you see that little blue hook right there.
In the center.
In the center. This is in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And that blue hook right there, that little loop around there, that was the Union hook. If you do any research or hear anything about Gettysburg, they always talk about the Union hook. They also call it the Shepherd's hook. But the center of that hook right there was the stronghold for the Union Army and called Cemetery Ridge. Now this is located directly across, East Cemetery Hill is located directly across from Evergreen Cemetery in the Soldiers National Cemetery. Again, if you know anything about Gettysburg or any of the history of this, Evergreen Cemetery and that location right there is where Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address. So we're kind of telling you like where we were at when we did the investigation. So the site of the battle, basically all 3 days, July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of 1863, there was fighting on this hill. We mainly concentrated on July 2nd, but we found some other stuff.
About the 1st.
About the 1st,
and then,
too.
Of course, in the future after the battle as well.
Go ahead and talk a little bit, because I'm going to bring up another screen, if I can.
Oh, okay.
I forgot to bring up the map.
Oh, you forgot the map.
Forgot the map.
Yes, so I have a lot of troubles with directions, and so I base everything off of
Shocker.
landmarks. And so I kept saying, okay, well, I know this location is literally right across the street from Evergreen Cemetery, the nice big Evergreen Cemetery arches, and then the Soldiers National Cemetery is right next to it, and then toward the other end you've got the orphanage, and then on the other side of the parking lot you have the Jenny Wade house, which was really not even her house. It's just where she got shot and killed. So I was basing everything on that, and Sean's trying to explain to me about this Shepherd's Hook. I have been to Gettysburg countless times, and I still don't understand all of that, military portion of it. However, I do kind of have a little bit of the gist of the locality of it just based on all of my landmarks.
Instant Replay said when they visited, they reenacted Pickett's charge.
Nice.
That's pretty interesting.
Yes.
So Instant Replay, you basically know where we're talking about here. Like I said, the Cemetery Ridge was the stronghold for the Union Army, and the reason why was they were actually protecting Baltimore Pike.
Yes. Now, this is the area, by the way, of the battlefield that is the least visited. It's kind of off the beaten path, I guess you would say, as far as the rest of the main battlefield. It's kind of the end of the street after you go through the town portion a little bit, and so they do say that this is the least visited, which is sad that any part of it would be least visited. Yeah. But
it is, because people just don't realize.
And there's a ton of monuments and all kinds of placards and everything there. So
okay, so I have a Google map up of Gettysburg right here, and just a little bit of we got a lot of folks from Canada in here. Might not understand geographically like what was going on here. If you see, and I think on here they can see my mouse. If you see these roads here that lead into Gettysburg, that's why it became like the perfect storm for the battles, because all the different regiments and stuff were leading into town. Mm-hmm. But the one that was major concern was this one right here, Baltimore Pike. Baltimore Pike Road right here was the road that was the retreat path for the Union Army if they had to retreat. And it also leads to Baltimore and Washington, D.C. So if the Southern Army, Confederate Army, would have broke through that line, that's why they created that hook around, actually it was right here, that hook right here. They were protecting this Baltimore Pike. If they would have broke through there in any way, they were on their way to Washington, and that would have changed the whole outcome of the war. Okay, now let me zoom in here just a little bit, and I'm going to show you exactly where we conducted the investigation. Now we stayed
right there at the 1863.
Yeah, right here at this 1863 Inn of Gettysburg. Now, right here is the National Cemetery. This right in here. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is the Evergreen Cemetery. Now, we have another video that we're going to put together. I don't know if we're going to release it soon or maybe in November when the actual Gettysburg address.
Maybe we'll do that one in November.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll do Evergreen maybe.
The actual Gettysburg address was right across from this monument right in here in Evergreen Cemetery. But this whole area... Let me zoom out again. This whole area right here is like on top of the hill, and that is called Cemetery Ridge. And that is where the Union were held. Now, where we were at, where we did the investigation, was right here at the edge of this parking lot.
That was thunder, by the way. That was not any special effects. It seems like every time we do one of these, it thunders and storms outside.
So we were right here at the edge of this parking lot. And when
literally
we were
right by that tree area right
there, if you can see my mouse.
A little further back, but that's okay.
We did the live stream with Michael Fearer right about here. Yeah. And then when he was on our live stream, we did it actually right in these trees right here, because you saw the monuments and the guy cutting the grass behind us right here.
Yep.
Okay. So this area right here is East Cemetery Hill, and we were right on the edge of it. So that kind of gives you a little geographical layout there. Now, the Jenny Wade house, which we'll eventually be talking about, is right here. And the children's orphanage it's not on here.
It's right here. Yeah.
Right about there.
Yeah.
So if you were on those live streams that we were doing, especially that night we did an investigation, we showed you those locations. So that kind of gives you an idea geographically what we're talking about. Now, let's talk about the park itself, the National Park Service, because during our investigation, right in the beginning actually, we mentioned that we couldn't go over the stone wall. And because that is maintained by the National Park Service. And they are very, very strict. And, you know, with good reason, right, that you're not on National Park grounds after 10 p.m.
Yeah, and they say
they will arrest you.
It's gotten a little bit tighter in the last year or so, you know, with as many monuments throughout the country that have been damaged and defaced and things like that.
Yeah,
so
and there are monuments throughout the whole area.
Everywhere in Gettysburg, yeah. So some people would like us to send some rain to them. And there was a question I saw someplace in here.
If you folks have questions for us, please put our at Panic D videos ahead of it so it pops up in there and we can see it to make it a little bit easier.
I can't.
If you had a question, go ahead and ask it again. She's not able to.
I'm not seeing it at this moment, and I've forgotten what it was. But
okay, so the way that the park, the national park, came about was there was an organization that was called the Gettysburg Memorial Association, which actually began 2 weeks after the battle itself. It actually started right away, and what they wanted to do was set aside land for monuments and to preserve the battlefield.
Because they realized just how important that battle really was, and they said that it was so significant, both for the military types of things that were going on, but also because of just all of the people that were involved.
Yeah. Now, the land that they originally received, I don't know, some was donated, some they purchased. It was like just a small group. The original land that they got included Cemetery Hill, Culp's Hill, and Little Round Top. Just those little areas that they were going to start putting monuments. Here comes the rain. I hear it. Okay. Cemetery Ridge was actually the location where the veterans of the Civil War would come back and they would dedicate the monuments
question
and
is
stuff.
Finally here.
Oh, okay. You have a question?
The question that somebody asked if we played Civil War era music during the investigation. That's the one that
yes, we did,
couldn't
and
find.
it was. I think I cut that out of the investigation.
It was before we went live.
Oh, it wasn't on the recording.
No, it was before we went live.
Okay, yeah, there was some stuff we did that we did not get on video because the video that we used for today was actually a live stream that I cut up. But there was a few things that we did before we went live.
Yeah.
And Mary Ann's sister was with her, and she did play some Civil War music to kind of get things going. And what you didn't see in there was our protection prayer in the beginning and at the end and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, we did. Yeah, thunder. Woohoo! See, I ordered that just for you guys. I knew you guys were coming. And I said to the man upstairs, hey, I need some sound effects. Here we go. See how we roll here on Panic D videos? That's awesome.
Oh, goodness gracious. But yeah, so we did do a little bit of that. We didn't do it in the live portion, though, at all. So.
No.
So
yes, this also was the location. Cemetery Ridge was for the Gettysburg Address. I already mentioned that.
And I think I sort of cut you off when you were saying that this was where
you just cut me
they
off again,
had.
go ahead.
I didn't want you to jump away from the slide there for you. Where the veterans of the Civil War would come and they would have their reunions was on East Cemetery Hill.
Yeah, that whole area with the national battlefield, Evergreen Cemetery. That's why it was called Cemetery Hill, because the National Cemetery wasn't there yet.
Right, because of Evergreen.
And that was called Cemetery Ridge because of Evergreen Cemetery, which is extremely important cemetery, by the way, and we're going to mention that here in a little bit. But that that area was taken over by the National Park Service in 1895, and it became a national park after that point.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to tell you what. Between us, the townspeople of Gettysburg right now don't really like the National Park Service. Because all that area all around them is all federal land. And some of it was...
Some of it was taken by eminent domain as well.
Eminent domain.
Yeah.
They took the land. And
yes,
part of
for some of them. Not recently. This was a little whiles back. However, I did talk to some of the, shopkeepers and things like that while I was there, and a couple of them had mentioned that they're a little bit disgruntled about it because they have to ask
around here
permission to do everything, but the Park
Service, they're not
Service
even
doesn't.
allowed. The local ghost tour companies and stuff, and I'm not going to go off on this tangent, but this is just stories that people shared with us. They're not even allowed to talk about historical stuff on ghost tours unless they are certified by the National Park Service.
Correct.
They'll get fined
Yeah.
for that. So, yeah.
They can't talk about battle, strategy or anything like that.
So I mentioned Evergreen Cemetery, and I said it was important to Gettysburg, the town of Gettysburg. It was the town cemetery, and we got videos and all kinds of stuff coming out about that because a lot of these important people from the city of Gettysburg are buried in Evergreen Cemetery. But I want to show you, this is what the arch looks like today. Actually, a couple weeks ago when you took the picture.
Correct.
So this is what the arch of Evergreen Cemetery looks like now.
And you could see it was garbage day. You can see their little garbage bins out front. And I remember commenting, there's never anybody here. How can they make that much garbage?
Yeah. Okay, so this is what it looked like right after the battle.
This was July 7th.
Yeah. Now, of course, the little caretaker's house, or that little addition on the right wasn't there. That was added later. But they actually lived in that arch. And we're going to be doing videos on the Thorns.
Yes. Elizabeth Thorne.
And they were the caretakers of Evergreen Cemetery. But this kind of tells you some of the destruction and mayhem. And I don't know if I should say on here, you guys don't care if I get creepy, right? You really don't care? Do you care if I get creepy?
No,
we try to keep it clean on here, but it is Panic D video, so I didn't give a
disclaimer.
disclaimer.
Clean is different than creepy.
Oh, we'll keep it clean, but yeah. All right, so those little mounds that you see right there are probably graves.
I disagree.
No, I think they are.
I disagree. I believe that that's some of the mounds that they built up for their artillery.
Okay, whatever.
We can agree to disagree.
I think they're graves.
But you notice, if you notice, there was those puddles that were sitting in front of them too, and that's because it poured down rain after the battle.
There we go.
It poured down rain after the battle, and just deluges of water that came through, and so you can see some of the pooling there in some of the areas that had been pre-dug, I guess you could say, through the battle.
All right, now the reason why I bring up the arch and show you the arch and everything, here's a cool picture that we found today. Did we find it today?
Yes.
Yeah. This was taken July 7th, 1863 from the top of that arch, looking back over East Cemetery Hill. Okay? Now, you see the little tents there? That's the Union Army. They were just chilling out, getting packed up, getting ready to leave Gettysburg. Now, those locations that I just mentioned not that long ago, on that map I showed you, where we did the investigation from is right there. Right there at that location. So, look how close we were to that encampment that was there back in the day.
Yeah.
Now, we just found that picture today, and we lined it up with the different landmarks and things like that at Gettysburg, and that's about right, because that parking lot led up to...
And that parking lot goes back pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Got anything going in chat?
Yeah, so people are excited to see and where our different live streams came from when you were pointing that out. Dealer's Guppies thinks that those do look like graves for you, but they were asking about the puddles. Okay. I really do believe that that they were not. I really believe that they were actually part of the
Well, let me
artillery.
add to this, since we're getting creepy. It's after dark here.
Yeah.
We get creepy.
Okay. Yes, they did ask for us to get creepy, by the way.
Okay, so there's only one documented case that we know of a Confederate soldier that's buried in Evergreen Cemetery.
2.
I'm never right. 2.
2. There was
You're
a pair.
right. It is
there was
2.
a pair.
There were 2. And there are 0 Confederate soldiers, unless they were body parts, buried
Accidental.
in the National Cemetery, because that was Union ground. So, that picture was taken on July 7th, correct?
Yes.
Okay, 4 days after the battle.
Yes.
The Confederates did not come up to collect the dead.
Until
They
well
were
after.
left.
Mm-hmm.
They could have been shallow graves. I'm just saying. That's just my opinion. There was fighting that took place right there.
There was.
Okay.
There was. I just think that those very much look like the...
But, folks,
Okay.
I'm never right. So,
It's okay.
she says they're just puddles.
I say they're puddles. I say they're puddles next to some of the artillery. What do you call those things? I've forgotten the that they put the cannons behind.
Lunettes?
Yes, the lunettes.
We
The
haven't,
lunettes.
we haven't got to that
Yes.
slide yet.
Yes, but that's what I think they are. I think they're the lunettes.
All right. Okay.
But by the way, they were saying that they had gone to. They had seen the arch when they were there. ATGH Travels.
Oh, cool.
And
yeah.
so I told him, I said, I went inside it this time.
Yeah, she got to go inside.
did.
She actually met the owner and got his
Well,
book.
Caretaker.
Caretaker. Well, yeah, there's no owner. It's owned by the city. The caretaker that's approved by the board. See,
Yeah.
I'm never right. I always have to explain myself, but that's okay.
It's all right. It's all right. But it was really super cool. Like, I went in there and I didn't take any pictures while I was in there. It's like really small and everything. But I was literally the only one in there with the guy, and he was autographing my book that I purchased about the cemetery from him that I've been trying to get for 5 years. And I told him all about how I've been trying to get it for 5 years. So I didn't take any pictures, but it was super cool to be in there. And like every minute that I was in there, I'm trying to listen to him, but at the same time, I'm like looking around, like I'm inside the arches.
So good. So, Parapeeps, all of our Parapeeps, everybody who's subscribed to our channel is a Parapeep. If you stick around, you're going to start hearing names when we start doing these Gettysburg, more Gettysburg stuff. You're going to hear about the Thorns, Elizabeth Thorne and her husband. I forget his name.
Peter.
You're going to hear about Jenny Wade. You're going to hear about John Burns. You're going to hear about David Wills. You're going to hear about Jack Scully.
Skelly. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I said it right. You're going to hear all these names. They're all buried in Evergreen Cemetery because they are like important people. So we love Evergreen Cemetery. All right, so where did we hear about the haunting of East Cemetery Hill? Because it's just a hill. H. Castro, I know you're here. It's just a hill, right? It's just the hill has monuments on it. How would people even think that there could be a haunting there? Or even whatever. Well, here's how we found out.
Through a variety of ways, actually.
Yeah. Anyways, first thing, we tell everybody, you go to a little town, big town, any town, while you're visiting, look for ghost tours.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there was, actually we went on a ghost tour in 2013 and they talked about it, and you booked another one and went back and heard about some stuff. So the Ghostly Images ghost tour of
Gettysburg.
Yeah. They tell the story of the Belle of Baltimore. I mistitled.
Well,
I do have to apologize.
That's because I call her the Lady of Baltimore, but they did that whole, cutesy title.
Yeah, I mistitled the thumbnail. I called it the Lady of Baltimore.
That's because I call her the Lady of Baltimore. That's
it's
my
actually
fault.
the Belle of Baltimore. It's her.
That's my fault.
Whoa!
I know, right?
Wow.
Wonders do never
That's
cease.
a new one. All right. So, and we also have the book, Mark Nesbitt Books. If you caught our live stream that we did from the 1863, Marianne shared one of those stories with you out of that book.
I did.
But in there, he talks about the story of James McCleary, which we'll be talking about here in a little bit. And Shadowlands.net. This is a website that I've been using forever because it kind of gives just, it's not as in-depth as panicd.com, but it kind of gives us that lead. And if you've seen us say before, that's all we need is just that little piece of little something of the puzzle, the beginning of the puzzle, the corner piece. Okay, the corner piece of the puzzle, and from there we're trying to find more and more and more information. Yeah. So I do use shadowlands.net. I do recommend them. It's a cool website, and what they list for Cemetery Hill in Gettysburg is on chilly summer nights. You can at times see a blue column of light, and sometimes you can feel like someone is watching you, and you can hear people crying, "Help." So that's what they list on their website.
Yes.
That's kind of got us interested in going to, East Cemetery Hill. Maybe there's something going on over there.
Not to mention the fact that, you're not allowed to go into the battlefields after dark. And every time we go there, it's summertime. So it gets dark much later. Yeah. So by the time it gets dark, we can't be in the park. So now, I said, where can we go? Let me stop you
just for a second. You don't have to go ghost hunting just at night, folks. That's
true.
No more. However, we were there at Bike Week.
And you cannot do any
You're not doing any investigation during the day. So when we went out there to investigate, there was nobody in town. Gettysburg
they
rolls up the
carpets.
streets 9, 10 o'clock because every place closes. So everyone was in their hotel rooms and it was nice and quiet. That's why we chose night. Most cases we do choose night, but that's why we investigate at night, because there's less contamination, unless the frogs come with us.
Right. But in this particular case, it's also, it was Bike Week.
Yeah, it was Bike Week.
So we wanted to find some place that we could investigate at night.
So that night we scheduled to go out and do a meetup at Sachs Bridge. And we did go out there. We were out there for about an hour. And it started to get real busy. Because a lot of the locals go out there. It's a free location. And it's quite active. We'll be doing videos about that too. And so we left and headed back towards our hotel. And like Mary Ann said, we always wanted to investigate the battlefield. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to do a live investigation for you guys. So kind of thought, hey, let's go up there next to the battlefield, right at the end of the parking lot. Mm-hmm. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We'll get as close as we can without touching.
That's right. So we did. If you caught our live stream and caught the video from this morning, you saw what happened.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to tell you, that was like probably one of the most active investigations we did with so many different spirits in one location.
Yeah. I think it is the most active that we've had.
In one spot.
Yeah.
Now, we have got stuff like Hillview, but you got to go to different areas. They don't follow you.
True.
But just standing there, and it was just kept coming. Do.
Yeah. And from like the responses that we got, it was seeming like it was multiple individuals that we were communicating.
Yeah. Normally we do an investigation or something, and it goes in like waves. Like we might investigate for 15, 20 minutes, maybe an hour or something. Might catch a little bit here and there or whatever. We take a break, go back, maybe we'll get some stuff, go back, it'll be really active somewhere, that kind of thing. But this was just it was so intense, everything that was going on, we were getting headaches. It was like, okay, we got to be done with this. And then it was like, towards the end, it just petered out. Like once we said, okay, we're going to let you guys go and kind of calm down a little bit and everything, it just, but it was cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, we have any questions?
Can those cannons be fired now that they see? And no, not really. A lot of them, they even have filled in with a wood center now for a lot of them.
I purposely, or not purposely, I actually don't know the answer to that, so you may know more.
I don't think that at least most of them are usable at this point.
Yeah, I do not know, but that would be something to find out. I know there's a new place in Gettysburg, something cannons, that they maintain those cannons, and you can go and talk to them. I saw a couple of videos too about them too. Okay. How they explain, because remember we were reading that thing on the barrel, it tells you where it came from and that kind of stuff. and the different types
Yes.
of cannons.
Oh yeah.
That's in Gettysburg. Those people are in Gettysburg.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know where.
So
there's just so much in Gettysburg.
If you remember,
It's just-
I took some pictures along the way, and I know that we've posted some of them of the faces of the cannon.
Yeah.
And
she
the
did
inscriptions.
Because on the
you
there's
can
a description
see
that
where
tells
they
you
were
where
made
the cannon
and
came from. Yeah.
what number it was. So yeah.
Any other questions?
Questions? I don't think so.
No.
I
Any
don't
questions
think so.
so far? You guys with us? Got it? How are we doing? If you have any questions, just let us know. Go ahead and shout them out, because now we're going to talk about who these spirits may have been.
Some of the cannons are replicas. Some of them are not.
Okay. Somebody in chat said that?
No, that was a question. I know that some of
okay.
them are officially replicas and some of them are not. But they did ask if they were or not.
And they're everywhere. There's cannons all over Gettysburg.
Yeah.
It's cool, actually.
Mm-hmm. It was surprising this time when we were there. There are a couple of them that have gates around them with a little sign that says something under construction or area closed.
Yeah.
It wasn't artifact closed. It was something like location.
I think it was relic
something
closed.
like that. And I'm
Those
like,
were
that's kind of cute.
You know what those were? I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That
By
was
the high
on
water
the
mark.
other side. Yeah, that was like West Cemetery Hill, whatever. It's on the other side. But they're the little wagons that they pull, use horses to pull, that carry the ammunition and stuff. And those guys talk about a job.
Yeah,
They would target those guys.
crazy.
So their responsibility was to run those horses down to the trains to load those up and bring them up to the artillery. And yeah, you're back. Just a little buffering. Yeah. Anyways, are we ready to move on?
We are, because some people want to know what kinds of spirits we had interactions with. And
All right.
I'm so
Hey.
glad you asked, because that's like next.
Guess what? Boom! Almost planned that.
I know. So this is for you, guppies.
So what kind of spirits were there? Well, before we go over that, do you want to go over our investigation notes? That's towards the end. But if there were people who didn't see our investigation, this isn't not really going to make sense, right?
No, yeah.
So maybe
I
we're
guess.
working dynamically and we're going to shuffle it around. So what Marianne's going to do right now, she took some notes because we watched that again. She's just going to briefly go through and tell you some of the responses that we were getting during the investigation. Again, if you want to see it, it's the video previous to this one, and it's like 17 minutes.
Yeah.
The live stream when we went live was over an hour, so we downloaded, cut that down, and we reviewed it and put stuff in. So go ahead and go over some of that stuff so people know.
So we had Ovilus readings that came through. We had Jen, Chain, Counter, Grave, Beware, Doubt, Rebecca, which I thought were all very interesting because we were near the Jenny Wade murder site.
Yeah, so we got Jen and Beware like pretty close together, which, if you don't know, Jenny Wade was actually killed there in that house. That's why they call it the Jenny Wade house. But those soldiers that were there on East Cemetery Hill were the ones that were going to the Jenny Wade house to get the bread.
And they also were the ones who went over and helped carry her body to the basement.
When they found out that she was killed, they went over and helped evacuate the family under gunfire.
And it completely makes sense that they heard her screaming.
Yes.
Based on where their campsites were.
Yes.
Now that we've seen the actual picture evidence.
Yeah.
So we also we questioned who this individual was looking for. We thought maybe it was Rebecca. And we said, who are you looking for? And you were saying, like father, husband, brother. And I said, or son. And the response that we got back was clear as day. Son.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
okay.
Wow, that's a good one. I heard that one, and I'm like, okay. That was an SB7 response. We also had something that came through really only one time as we watched and reviewed all the videos and listened to the audio that we had of some either galloping of horses or maybe cannon fire were kind of tossed up.
Now, one thing that we did, after I made the video, I put it up on the channel, and this morning, actually, when we got started trying to finish up the presentation for the live stream, we watched it back on our TV, and we realized that's the best place for us to listen back for SB7 responses, because the speakers, the way our TV set up, we can actually hear it better.
Yeah.
So I started, you'll see if you go and watch that, I added update comments in there. You know, like some of them I thought with headphones on it said something else, but through the TV, Marianne's like, oh yeah, it said this. Oh, it said, like the one where it said saltpeter.
I think it sounds like where's Peter?
Where's Peter? And it sounds totally different coming through the TV. So, and it's kind of hard sometimes to review that. And even with headphones on, it sounds something like, but then Marianne heard it. She said, oh, it says where's Peter? And we played it back 5, 6, 7 times. Like, yeah, it could be where's Peter. So
yeah. And to me, it makes more sense that it would say where's Peter. Saltpeter, yes, I was, it's part of, your bullets and things like that. And they would have been using it. But why would they be saying it, you know? But the claims on East Cemetery Hill are that we're going to have women looking for their relatives. So I can see where it would say, where's Peter? But anyways, I digress. We also had somebody sort of ask for water. Mm-hmm. We had, you had asked them something to the effect of, talking about your condolences for losing relatives or friends or whatever, and the response that you got, and again it was clear as day, we didn't hear it that night, I don't know if anybody in the live stream heard it, but we heard it on the playback, says, I'll take them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what? So that was pretty crazy. We had the identification of 5 when asked how many spirits are here. There was a section where they said hands up. What else? Where were they from? It sounded kind of like Alabama, even though there would not have been an Alabama area.
But we're going to talk about that.
We'll talk about that later. And then you said that you thought something said my name. Goodbye, Marianne, or whatever. Maybe. But I think that one of them, when I hear it, said, we did. Because the question was, did you tell ghost stories around the campfire? And then I hear, we did. I thought that was cool. You thought it sounded like Marianne, but you now on the TV, you kind of agree with me.
Yeah, it does sound different.
We'll have you guys check it out too.
Yeah, please go back and watch that because
that was really cool. And then we asked about families fighting together and being there, and we got, does it matter?
Yeah, I think the question was, do you miss your family or something like that, which is like a standard question we normally ask.
And then we had one
or is response, your family with you or something like that?
Were you fighting with your family members, or any other in the brigade with you? Does it matter? And then no, and I do. We sort of hear after that. And then do you get to see your family? Maybe. So those are kind of some of the interesting ones that were popping out. Yeah. Clearly there were a lot more things that you were pointing out in the video, but those were some of the really cool ones.
So bottom line is there were multiple entities. It wasn't just the same ones, and we were getting different voices coming through on SB7.
Yeah, some of them sounded more masculine, some of them sounded more feminine.
Yeah, there were multiple there, and they were just, and I think that's why for us it was just too much trying to
And we
keep
got
everything going.
we got a ton of K2 hits as well.
Well, see, that's another thing I want to mention too. There was four of us there. Marianne and I were really the only ones that were on camera most of the time, but off to the side was Joanne and Mark, and they had the K2 meter and the Ovilus over there, like away from us. And I wanted to purposely keep the K2 and Ovilus away from the cell phone because we were live,
right?
And it will set that off and trigger false responses. So I said, hey guys, just go over either to our left or our right and see if you're getting anything. And away from the camera, the thing was going crazy
and
too.
And really, again, we were in the middle of a parking lot.
In the middle of a parking lot. The only thing that was above that we were using for a light. And it was at least...
It was a really tall one.
Yeah. I mean, the K2
way taller than me. Way taller than me.
It was crazy. So that's basically a rough little overview of what we got from our investigation. And again, go back and you'll hear some of it. But that now, if you didn't see those, this will make sense what we're going to go through.
Did we get weird vibes there? I didn't feel weirded out or anything like that. I was just like, this is so cool that I'm actually hearing responses on the SB7, because normally I can't hear anything. Now, there were a couple of them that we even heard that night that came right through. And for me, that was super cool, because usually I can't interpret that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
But the actual feelings of, like sometimes you get that cobwebby stuff, or you get that feeling like the hair sticks up on your arms, or cold spots or something like that. Didn't get any of that. But again, we were outside.
Yeah.
We were standing at the edge of a parking lot. Yeah. So it was kind of, we were like acclimated to the weather anyway, so we might not have felt any of that stuff. All right, let's move on, shall we? Okay. All right. Who is Rebecca?
Who is she? Who is this woman?
Tracy's still here? We got to give Tracy props for this one, because she found the research on Rebecca.
We weren't even home yet, and she had already gotten this information to us.
And I figured out Tracy, which is Teethrog, and Hannah. I figured out what I was doing wrong on Instagram messages. Why I wasn't seeing them. You don't see them through the webpage. You got to do it on your phone. All right. So you want to take this one? Or you want me to take this one?
Well, before we talk about who Rebecca really was, there's another person that we want to kind of bring up that will lead to potentially identifying Rebecca. And so that is Captain Augustus Vignos. And this individual, he was injured on the first day of the battle. So he was injured on July 1st, and he had an injury to his right arm. He had a cannonball that actually hit his right arm, and it was a very bad wound. And he was taken away from the field to the field hospital, and he was, kind of looked after for about 3 days, and then they decided to amputate his arm. The day after that, they kind of looked at him and they're like, put him over there. He's not going to make it.
They're not seeing you on camera, just so you're making your face.
And I'm like moving my fingers and, everything. So they're like, let's just put him.
You're back on camera.
Okay. They're like, let's put him over there.
Talking to you guys, and the slide was up.
I wasn't paying attention. I can't see the slide. I should be able to see the slide.
Right here, sweetie.
Okay. So anyways, they're like, put him over there because he's not going to make it. He's not doing well. And that didn't actually happen. He actually did pull through. He did live. He pulled through with the care of a nurse named Rebecca. It was Rebecca, her final last name is Price. She has a really cool
she comes up
name.
Next. She comes up next.
I'll let you say I'll let you say her name because you like her name.
Okay. Well,
but anyhow, he did live, and he in 1877 was actually appointed as postmaster of Canton, Ohio, by none other than William McKinley himself, one of our presidents as time progressed from Ohio.
So, yeah, Tracy
So-
says she's still here. Hey, thank you for finding that article. I don't know how you did it, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
So guess what?
Maybe-
We found out now. If you watched or have watched the investigation, the word Rebecca when it came out was male.
it sounded sort of masculine when we do the replays. Like that night, I didn't really notice. I'm
Yeah,
like,
we could hardly
oh,
hear
okay.
the SB7.
Whatever. It
But-
said Rebecca, but I couldn't tell like intonation of
Throwing
male,
this
female.
out there. Maybe it was
Maybe it was him.
Yeah.
Maybe it was another
maybe
that she
it was
took care
Captain Augustus Vignos looking for Rebecca. Or another
because
soldier.
she called them her soldier boys.
I love her name. Nurse Rebecca Pennypacker Price.
Yeah.
Nurse Rebecca Pennypacker Price.
Yeah.
So, could this be Rebecca?
It
It's
could
possible.
very well be.
All right, go ahead.
Which is really super exciting that it could possibly be her.
Tell us about Rebecca.
So, where did Nurse Rebecca come from? Well, actually, she was from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, and she was part of what they called the Union Relief Society. She was actually their president at first. Eventually, she became their secretary. And basically, the whole gist of what they did was they administered to the wounded and the sick. They collected different supplies, making sure that they had enough materials to go around, pillows and clothing and, food, water, all that kind of stuff. Well, she came to Gettysburg, get this, by way of Baltimore. Just going to throw that out there. We'll tie all these little loose ends up later. But she did arrive via Baltimore in July, just a few days after the battle. We kind of estimate her days after the battle based on the fact that she was there and took care of Augustus. And he had been injured.
She's
and
using her hands again. I'll put her back.
he had been injured on the 1st. He had 3 days before his arm was amputated. Then they put him off to the side for after a day.
Should I be showing this?
Not yet.
Okay.
You can in a minute. So then, of course, she gets to take care of him and nurse him back to health. So she did come in after the battle. We don't know exactly when, but it's within a few days after the battle. Most indication is that she was there by the 7th or 8th.
Okay,
You
we
have
got
some
a question
questions?
from PSPR. What did Marion think about what you experienced with her scientific background?
Amazement.
The skeptic.
Just utter amazement.
That's what I'm saying, folks. This, like I said, I don't know how many investigations. We got documented over 200 locations. Marianne's a pro when it comes to EVP recordings and asking questions and stuff like that. But this was the most amazing investigation we had as far as responsive activity, feedback coming back.
Yeah.
Now, I've been on some investigation. Normally when we went out with large groups, sometimes we would break up with men would go one way, women would go the other. Like you and the girls went and did something, and I've been on some that's been like this without you.
Yeah.
And even when we investigated the orphanage, we were getting activity, but you were back in the hole in the back, and you were hearing it out in the hallway going on, but you weren't actually there doing the EVP session, the questioning, and that kind of thing.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So what do you think?
I just think it's utter amazement, and there has to be something, because the responses that we were getting based on the questions we were asking and how quickly the responses were coming even after those questions. It wasn't like, 10 minutes later we got something that came across and it had nothing to do with what we were talking about. Literally, those responses were like lined up, and I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. And I loved the fact that, I was able to hear some of those responses that day, which a lot of times we don't. And so then, because we don't have...
Well, I'm going to ask you a question, and then we need to move
I don't
on.
have the ability to hear and understand the SB7 most of the
But
time.
after what we went through today with this review, and we couldn't hear it out there because the speaker was horrid, but what do you think about the SP7 now? Because that was just
it was amazing. You know,
off the chart.
I can honestly say I appreciate it a lot more, and I feel that I will allow it to happen more often.
See, normally I take it out. I'm like, we're gonna do a steer's box,
like,
and she's like, oh. Now you're like, okay.
Yeah, but this
we
the
just
idea.
have to learn how to.
Yeah, the idea though that we were able to get those responses then, and then build from those for additional questions. Where normally we're back home already, maybe a month later, listening to the recordings before we actually get to know what they said to us. And that was, I think, amazing. And I don't know if that helped them when we were saying, okay, I heard you say this. Okay, now let me ask you this. I don't know if maybe that helped get more responses.
I think what we need to do, and PSPR is in here, and he'll probably make me do this. But I think what we need to do is after we do an investigation, we're just going to have to sit aside time, do the review, and put the video up. Like right then. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's move on, shall we?
Okay. So before we move on 100%, just a little quick tie with Augustus here back to Cemetery Hill, because I don't think I actually mentioned that on his slide at all. But he was part of the Ohio 107, which was part of
ATGH Traffles,
which was part of the brigade that was up on Cemetery Hill. It was the Union 1st and 11th Corps that kind of were under Colonel Wainwright, and this group was part of that was up there. So he was on Cemetery Hill. He had a nurse named Rebecca. He did have his right arm amputated.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on. They had a sort of connection. It was not a love connection. She was married at the time that she was there. Her husband knew that she was there, actually said, I approve you going there. I'm happy that you're going to go and help these people. So she had support of her family. Then she took care of him, nursed him back from death, basically. And so after the war, he started looking for her. When they started having these reunions, which they called national encampments, when they started having these, he would go around and she gave him a picture at some point. You know, pictures weren't popular, but somehow he had a picture of her that she had given him while she was, his nurse, and he was looking for her all over the place, and he couldn't find her everywhere. He was like, hey, do you know her? Have you seen her? And she eventually finds him. She writes a letter to him, and she says, hey, I'm going to be at the Saratoga encampment. Can you come there? I want to see some of my soldier boys. And he went there and met her, and they had a long talk. Her and her husband went back and went to visit with him in his home in Canton. So they continued to be friends afterwards, and he was just so thankful that she had saved his life, and she was just so happy that she was able to come in contact with someone that she had helped and saved. When she wrote the letter to him, it was so cute that at the beginning of it she put that, do you remember the nurse who got you fresh clothes so you can go home? And she had gotten him fresh clothing, and she had gotten him a ride on the first train out of Gettysburg that she could get him on. And that was against her orders. But she's like, do you remember that nurse? I was that nurse.
And this is all in that article.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to mention a couple things here real quick, and we'll keep moving on. But I posted the link to our Discord server right there in the chat. And, make sure you go over and join our Discord, because I put the links to the article that Tracy found, or T-Throng found, and sent to us. Those links are in there under the, what was it again? Research, info, something.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Research, info,
so
discussion.
we can, once we're all done, you guys can go back and actually see that full article and everything about Rebecca, which was cool. Now, Tracy did have a question for you. Do you think that maybe they thought that Mary Ann was Rebecca or favored her? And I'm going to answer that question. Okay? It could have been Joanne. They could have thought Joanne was Rebecca because Joanne is a registered nurse.
Yeah.
See, I need sound effects. Boom,
Thump,
boom,
boom.
boom.
Yeah, and we actually do look alike, my sister and I, and we both have dark hair, and so we could have resembled Rebecca, who was the nurse.
That
to
was
all
right
these
in the
guys.
beginning, so we were kind of like all still together there, and Joanne was there just off camera to the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
And they called her Rebecca.
It's possible. I like it. I do.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
All right, are we ready to move on? So, potentially, what was his name again?
Augustus.
Augustus?
Yes.
I thought it was Augustus something. Vignos.
Yes, Augustus Vignos.
Okay. He could have been the one-armed spirit.
He could have been, because...
Could have been. That's number one.
The one-armed spirit was supposed to have been seen walking around Cemetery Hill without a right arm.
Right.
And he did have his right arm amputated.
Okay, so it's possibly it could have been him. However, we did get in the book that it wasn't him. It was this gentleman.
That is the theory. There was a diary that Colonel Wainwright actually wrote throughout the course of the battles and his times, and he wrote all his thoughts and things, and it's called A Diary of a Battle. Okay, and I don't think we have that written any place specifically, but it was Colonel Wainwright.
You didn't find that. I know you were looking for it. You did find it.
I will own that book coming up in a couple days. I purchased it today. It will be here in a few days, and I will have Colonel Wainwright's book. It's not the original. It's the print. It's the typeface version.
Thank you,
but
Lord, you didn't buy the original.
But I will have that book, and so I will be reading that section.
Folks, please help us out. Hit the thumbs up. Watch our videos. We have to get monetized because she's sending me to the poorhouse. I got to make some kind of money here on YouTube. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Not really.
Stop it. All right. So anyways, James H. McCleary is actually another potential individual who could be the man that's searching for something on Cemetery Hill without an arm.
Well, the book said it was him.
Well, the book doesn't name him specifically.
Yeah, it does. The book. You didn't read the book. I read the book.
Oh, you're talking about Nesbitt's book.
Yes.
Oh, no,
Nesbitt's
see, I was talking about
That's
Wainwright.
how I got James McCleary. It's in the book.
Now, see, I got James McCleary from the National Park Service.
I told you James McCleary, and you found it on the National Park Service. It's in the Nesbitt book, James McCleary. Okay.
All right. Well, turns out...
But we found... Now, wait a minute. We back? Yeah. We found some interesting information. Okay.
That we did. So, he was a member of James Cooper's 1st Pennsylvania Light Artillery Battery B, who was positioned on July 2nd up on Cemetery Hill. He was there, and according to Colonel Wainwright's book, his Diary of the Battle, he was mortally wounded that day. He's described as having had his right hand blown off, his left arm at the shoulder blown off, his ribs broken open such that you could see through his body. He was moved to Evergreen Cemetery across the way, near a well, and that's where supposedly he dies. I say supposedly because there is a little bit of a potential that may not have happened. He may not have died there. He may have just had his legs potentially amputated there. And then he died at a church, which was down the road, as one of the field hospitals.
Yeah, they really
and then
don't know
eventually
100%
buried
for
back
sure.
there again. But we know for sure that he was moved to Evergreen Cemetery after his body was mortally wounded and
Okay,
lost
so we're getting creepy.
parts.
We could get gross too. I showed you that picture of what it looked like. Can you imagine an artillery bombardment from both sides? They're just fighting, two artillery brigades fighting each other. These people were pulverized. There were body parts flying everywhere, decapitations, arms going this way, legs going that way, feet going that way. Not just people, horses, everything. It was just horrible, horrible. I didn't mention that in the ghost stories and folklore.
Yeah.
I was going to. I debated about it, but that's just the scene. That whole hill was just covered with that.
Yes. Now, I do have a couple of additional things to say about poor James. All right. So, first of all, the rain's really coming down now.
It's okay.
His tombstone is misspelled. So it actually says James McGleary with a G instead of a C. Apparently, when the order came through for the stone, it was handwritten incorrectly on the order form, and so he has a stone with a G instead of a C. So poor Mr. McGleary there. Secondly, you may have noticed the picture that we have there. It's watermarked that it's the property of the University of Alabama. The University of Alabama has his journal, his diary, from January through July of 1863.
And we mentioned this earlier. We got the response, where are you from?
Alabama.
Alabama came up.
His photograph, the only photograph that I can find of him, it's owned by the University of Alabama, as well as a letter that he wrote. So they have this whole section of stuff that is his. Very interesting.
How it ended up there, we could not find out.
I haven't found that out yet.
I think because it's part of the collection of, and then a person's name. I'm not going to mention the name because it was a private collection. I think that person was an alumnus of the University of Alabama and owned this stuff and donated it to their archives. That's what I think. But there's the word Alabama.
Right.
That's the only thing that we found in the research of Alabama. Because the Confederacy that was there on the hill was, they were from Louisiana. All of the regiments that was fighting there on the east side were Louisiana.
Right.
So...
So another thing,
unless it was a mother that was coming up and it said Alabama or something, but there's where the word Alabama comes.
Yeah, and another thing is that his left arm is the one that was completely removed at the, problem when it was blown off, but his right hand. And so just because it said hand...
Not of the hand, but...
Yeah. Just because it said hand doesn't mean it was just his hand. It could have been further up his arm, and it's just like, oh, here's the hand. But that hand was found later.
Yes. And James, that's what they said. It was his right arm in the book.
Right.
But you found the diary said his left arm was removed. And his right hand.
Yes.
Okay.
But I was also thinking about the fact that, when these artillery...
Okay, that was interesting.
Yeah. When these artillery
Horace,
men would fire these cannons, they would, be moving around and then turn around and things like that. So from where Wainwright was sitting, could he have
Yeah.
mistaken
All that stuff going on.
you
he
know,
could have had it wrong.
whether he was looking at it and it looked like, gee, his left arm, but maybe he was turned around backwards and it was really his right arm that was actually blown off.
So we mentioned the word lunette.
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 Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here's a picture of what a lunette actually looks like. Okay. They're not as high as that right now in Gettysburg. There are like mounds in certain areas that are like that. They would build that up. That's called a lunette. Probably comes from the French, and that was to help protect the artillery. And sometimes they would put like a wooden fence across the top of it, and
I mean, you got to think these guys have to
like
be
that.
standing to make these cannons go off.
Well, they're not carrying firearms either. They're not carrying personal firearms. So if the artillery was charged by infantry, they would just take them over because they had sidearms probably. But it took 7 to 9 men to take care of one cannon. Because you had the person that loaded, the person that packed it, the person that inspect the cannon to make sure all the gunfire's out before they lit it. And
the one that pulls it.
Yeah. So that's what a lunette is. And the reason why I showed you that is because... All right, so here's a picture. That wall right there is where we believe that rock wall. What was the guy's name that wrote the diary?
Wainwright. Colonel Wainwright.
We believe that's where Wainwright was sitting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When he wrote that.
And if you see the to the right, you'll see the monument there that it has a cannon on the top of it, and that was actually for the 1st Brigade, of which McCleary was a member.
Okay, so this is a lunette. Okay, what it looks like now, they're a little lower.
A little lower, yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of wore down a little bit and overgrown with grass and things like that. But that one right there is where we got reports, or what we read earlier today, where
the first cannon, first left cannon,
where he was injured severely.
Yes,
the second time actually.
The first left cannon is where they had an explosion from, a cannon attack, and he was injured from. So it was the first cannon in the first lunette, and that's where he was blown up.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the hand.
I did mention the hand. So the next lunette to the right, which would be the south, moving further south, right after that particular event happened, another artillery battery came in. It was Ricketts Battery that came in after to replace them.
Okay, well, explain the picture.
That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
So they came in to replace them, and when they did, an individual named Corporal Moore found the hand of one of the Cooper's Battery men who it hadn't been taken away. And so what he did was he said that he buried it in the top of that second lunette. So he buried it so that his fellow comrades would not have to worry about their body parts not having a proper burial.
Okay. And in the reports, too, it says that James McCleary was carried back behind the
Evergreen Cemetery Gatehouse.
Cemetery
Gatehouse.
Arch, the gatehouse, to the well, where... well, one said that that's where he died, and then you read something else that he could have been taken to a church and died and brought back. But that's the well right there, the picture
Correct.
that we're showing you.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Super, super cool.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you want to do this part or I'll do this part. I think I saw Pusha Studios. She just said be right back. Why would he be... Okay, so the report is that a apparition of a soldier missing an arm will sometimes appear looking around and like he's looking for something. So, like his arm. Now, we did a little research onto that. Why would that happen? That's kind of a weird claim, why that's happening. And actually, if Sid Harth is still here, in Discord, he was asking me questions about this too. So we dug into it a little bit. Well, it turns out that, and I'm not an expert on religion whatsoever, and Marianne's kind of like forgot some stuff that she learned from Catholic school. But
I'm getting old.
Yeah, she's getting older. It turns out in the mid to late 19th century, Orthodox, which would be Catholic religion, believed that at the end of ages, at the end of time, Christ comes back to earth for judgment, and they'll rise up out of their grave and be resurrected. Well, that's not we still believe that today. But it was believed that the body has to be whole in order to walk into the kingdom of God whole. So, it's possible, I'm just throwing this out there as a theory, I don't want to create a whole religious argument on here, that maybe that's why he's looking for his arm, because they tried to keep those guys together and buried them together. They tried to. And there was just too much stuff
After
going on.
a while, they didn't.
Yeah. But guess what? We found out that James McCleary was Catholic. We did find that out. So, I always make the statement, who people who contact us about different things, issues and stuff like that. I always say I don't want to force my religious beliefs onto anybody and what I believe, but if you are raised that way and you believe that, that's what you're practicing, then that would make sense that if that spirit appears looking for his arm, because there's pieces missing, he wants to get together so you go through. Now, there's also Native American beliefs that's based on some of the similar things, that you can't appear walking in the spirit world after death. When you do, it's how you were when you died. So there is a little bit of religious background about that. So.
Dila's Guppy says it's the same with Islam. And if I'm not mistaken, that's why the Egyptians buried their important individuals with all their organs removed, but in the jars with them, so that they would have all of the things that they needed to get the body into together. The afterlife.
Right. Now, there was a word that was in that reading that I didn't mention because I'm just reading bullet points. Ceremonially removed. Ceremoniously removed. Right. So, and Marianne did find that the Catholic Church now, when did you say that was recently?
The article that I was reading was from 2016, which is just a couple years ago.
Organ donors now, it's okay that happens because that is ceremoniously removed. And it's a donation. A donation in the... An act of charity.
Yes,
that's what it is.
Like God would have wanted.
Yeah. So that's some interesting stuff there, but it could explain why the spirit is looking for their arm. So, okay.
And why so many individuals from battles are still haunting battlefields.
Yeah.
Wherever
but that was a strong
to be.
Catholic belief back in mid to late 19th century. So, all right. Do we have any questions? You guys have any questions?
Well, before
we move on,
they wanted to know why potentially that they would move the body, move him across to the pump. They
needed to get to water. They were trying to save them.
I said that's a water source. It was sort of out of the line of fire. That big gatehouse building, it was brick. So yes, it was being shot. There's lots of battle scars on that as well. But that's way better than a little dirt mound.
Yeah. So they were doing some active field hospital stuff back there with the water and things like that, and they were bringing the soldiers back, and that was almost in the middle of that ridge okay, is the arch. It's like almost in the middle. So all round it was protected by artillery and infantry and stuff like that. So they moved them into the center so that they can try to save them and work on them. Any other questions? There's a video on YouTube where next.
I've seen that video, Hannah.
Hey, Hannah, stick around. We got some really cool pictures to show you. This is going to be a video that's on YouTube that may be showing some potential apparitions.
Not as defined as that video that I think she's talking about, because I remember seeing that video and it was like, well, that's really cool. I want to see that happen. But we do have some photographs coming up.
We got some photographs for you guys coming up. Some evidence photographs. All right. Okay, here we go. Let's move on. You ready?
Yes.
This one's you.
All right. So we talked a little bit during the live stream about the Lady of Baltimore, or the Belle of Baltimore, which is really her true nickname. And so that's who we have to talk about.
Don't
next.
adjust your screen, folks. That
Yes.
picture's purposely blurred.
Right,
Thanks
because
to our graphic artist here.
because we don't have an official picture of the Belle of Baltimore. We don't
Right.
know of any specifically that exist. If any
Jim
even
Backus
really
is
did.
in the house. You gonna say hi to Jim?
Hi, Jim.
We'll rewatch the episode when I get some time to share to Facebook, though. Thank you very much, bud.
Francis Spirits is here as well. They just popped in.
Francis, Spirit, and Kitties. How are you doing? If anybody else popped in and we missed you, I'm sorry, because we're watching the presentation over
and
here.
talking and yeah. So
This is fun to do live because I love getting questions and the responses from you guys, but it's also kind of hard to watch the chat if stuff, So
I
I'm
know.
sorry if we missed somebody.
I'm picking things up every now and again. But like Tracy mentioned, water, cool, like because we did get the water response as well. So, you are talking about the right video. I thought so, Hannah. So anyhow, the Belle of Baltimore is another spirit that is known to walk the cemetery hill. The Belle of Baltimore was supposedly the wife of a soldier from the Confederate side. She actually came to Gettysburg looking for her missing husband. She was looking for him, and
Now, wait a
the
minute. I'm
townspeople
gonna stop you
gave
just for a
this
second.
nickname to her.
I'll stop you for a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Confederate soldier from Baltimore.
Yes.
Baltimore was a Union state, so that means he left Baltimore to fight for the South. Just pointing that out. That's not a typo.
Right. It's not a typo.
It
He
did
was
happen.
from Baltimore. There were a bunch of individuals from Baltimore who took up the Southern cause.
Yes.
So her husband happened to be one of them.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so she
Continue on.
came to Gettysburg looking for him, and she was given the nickname the Belle of Baltimore because she was from Baltimore and she had all this money. So she rented a room. It was somewhere on Baltimore Pike, and she's renting this room, and every day she'd go out searching for the fields for her husband. At some point she runs out of money. She was there for quite a while and she just didn't have any more. So what happens is she gets kicked out of where she was staying because she can't pay for the fees for the room anymore. So she goes out and she builds a shanty out in the woods on Culp's Hill. And
All right, hold on just a second.
okay,
Sid Harth wants to know, is that the nun from Conjuring?
it is not.
No, it's not.
It is not.
It's a picture that she
It's
took
actually a
and blurred it.
picture of a Civil War widow. Just not necessarily the Belle of Baltimore. So that's why I took out her face a little bit, because, she's supposed to have darkened eyes. We'll get to that in a second, but we don't know what she really looks like. So,
Yeah.
but no,
We had to
definitely
have
not the nun.
We had to have a graphic. there. So
Yeah. So she eventually isn't seen anymore by the townspeople, and they start to go, oh, what happened to the Belle of Baltimore? And so they go searching her out. They find her shanty in the woods, but she's not there, and she's never seen in flesh and blood again. They do say that they see her now. I found one report of a potential name for her, and that's Amelia Gatch. I have not been able to find anything else that ties that name to her. However, one of the local ghost tour companies that we actually have gone to several of their different things before, they have identified her as named Amelia Gatch. So whether that is true or not, whether that's the name that they gave her, whether it's something that they found in records somewhere, I don't know for certain, but this is potentially Amelia.
Okay.
Okay.
And she was
She gets seen with dark sunken in eyes, and of course
so
a
that
long
was the
dark
report.
dress.
This could be the one with the photographer.
This is theoretically who the photographer saw.
Okay.
Yes. So if you remember from the live stream, we mentioned that there was a photographer who was trying to, wait for the sun to come down and get some good shots of some of the monuments. And he felt this urge that something was going on behind him and he needed to turn around, but he didn't want to. But eventually he broke down and he turned around, and he was literally face to face with this apparition of a woman with sunken in eyes, and she just stared at him, and then he screamed and she disappeared. So that's potentially the Belle of Baltimore.
All right, we got another woman that could be there too.
Yes, there's a lantern woman. So the idea for this one is that there's this woman that shows up with a lantern. So you're overlooking through the battlefields in the darkness. You see this light, and you go to investigate it, and you see that it's a lantern that's being held by a woman. And this woman is in a long dark dress from long ago. And basically, she'll stare into your eyes. Go ahead and put me back on the camera. You gotta see this part as I point, because I'm gonna point. So she stares into your eyes and she points at your direction and she goes, "Children, children."
You might have just scared. Did we lose watchers?
I don't know. There's I'm getting pointed at on there. So okay,
there we go.
We're a few seconds behind there. So this is the Lantern Woman. I question whether she could be Felinda Humiston. She has a lot of names because she got married a lot of times, but at the time, she would have been Felinda Humiston.
All right, let me put it back on mine so I could say something.
Okay.
Felinda Humiston
Mm-hmm.
is a very famous woman.
Yes, she is.
I don't know if you guys know this or heard the story about the orphanage in Gettysburg, the National Orphanage. I'm going to tell it real quick because we're going to do this later on again, and you guys will probably forget by then. Anyways, there was a soldier that was found on the battlefield, and he was holding a picture of 3 children. Well, a local doctor out of Gettysburg took that picture, had cards made up, and put it all over in newspapers, church bulletins, and everything, looking for those children. And here their mother happened to have been Felinda Humiston. Okay? She replied back and said, yes, that was my husband. That was 4 months after the battle that they got a reply back. She took the children, they moved to Gettysburg, okay, and she became the caretaker of the newly established National Soldiers Orphanage, which happens to be we showed you where it was, right across the thing. So she was, that picture, that soldier, all that is why it was established there in Gettysburg.
Yes, and it was paid for and kept up by the residuals from that photograph being sold all over, that poor Mr. Humiston was holding in looking at when he died.
Yeah. So that's another interesting.
So
that could be a whole nother behind the haunting.
I question whether this lantern woman is Felinda, looking for, some of the children who happen to, have not come in from playing and it was getting dark, or if it's just some other mother that's out there searching for her sons or, some of her family members that are missing.
Yeah. So, that could be the lantern woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's all right. Any questions so far? Tracy says she remembers the story about the soldier holding the picture.
Yeah, and I creeped a few people out.
You did creep a few people out?
Yeah. Just a couple. I've only seen it mentioned 3 times.
Okay. That's okay. Children.
Yeah, so she's walking around on East Cemetery Hill with this lantern calling out children.
Okay. Any questions on any of those potential spirits that could be there? Go ahead and leave them in the chat right now. Let us know if you got any questions. If not, we're going to keep on going. We're going to show you some investigation photos because you've already went over the review.
Yeah. So just a couple real quick. I wasn't listening extremely intently to you.
That happens. We're on here talking to you guys, and we don't listen to each other.
I was reading what they were saying, So, did you mention when you were talking about the orphanage that all of the children that were there were orphans of the soldiers?
No, because I didn't want to, because we're going to do that later.
Okay.
I just summarized.
Okay. So, all of those children were actually there because they were orphaned by the war.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Okay. In greater detail,
greater detail, yes.
Okay.
All right. You guys want to see some pictures?
Of course they do.
I want to hear them say it in chat.
Oh,
yeah, we want to see some ghost pictures.
Do all ladies in past used to click those creepy photos of them? I don't know, Sid. but they did wear black for a full year after a spouse or someone would die. So I'd say that a lot of pictures of them happen to be creepy like that.
Yeah.
I don't know that anything was specifically done for that reason. Though.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
right,
bring the photos.
All right, here we go.
All
right, so we just told you about the lantern that's seen out on East Cemetery Hill. This is a picture that we took back in 2013. Okay? Look at that orb. Now, in most cases we discount orbs, okay? But that particular one right there kind of looks interesting. Is that a lantern? Is that the lantern that they're seeing?
I don't know. It's such a perfect circle. However, it just kind of is befitting of the fact that there's supposed to be someone searching out there with a lantern.
Yeah.
Don't know.
All right, so another report, and you really can't see it on here.
These are current. These are just the other day, about a week ago.
I'm going to post these pictures too in our Discord, and they're also part of the video. But did you say that just now? No.
I just said that these were from this time.
Yes, but there's a report of that blue light that shows up over top of those things. Mm-hmm. That you really can't see. I can see it on this screen right here, but I don't know if it's coming through. But there is some blue tint
at the bottom on the tail end.
Yeah, there is some blue tint to that one, which is a little bit interesting, and it looks a little bit like a figure underneath that, like a little ghostly figure, which is really cool.
Yeah. Now there's a couple of other small little orb-like anomalies throughout the picture.
Those could be insects,
right? And I just like to point out that as I was looking through the pictures from 2013 and 2015 today, in 2013, right there at Cemetery Hill, we got a ton of orb.
Yeah.
A ton. Tons. Some of the pictures had like 50 or more in them. And then there were some that only had a couple. You know, when it's just a couple, it could be a bug or whatever. There were just so many.
Kind of like the picture that we got at Zor Village. Mm-hmm. Where they're like all above.
Yeah.
It almost looked like the particles, like from Willy Wonka, where they're sending Mike TV across the room. All those orbs. Mm-hmm. That's kind of interesting. All right, now this picture here.
Okay, so Sid says, look near tree, figure is there, question mark.
Yeah, well, okay. There could be in there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm going to post these pictures in the Discord so we can continue the discussion if you see some other stuff. This picture right here, though, this is in the video, in the evidence review, when we're talking about, we got some action going on, and here Joanne saying, I see figures, there's 5, look right here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, check this out. This is interesting. You ready? Now, I don't have Joanne's picture that she was pointing out to me on her phone. That's in the video. This is a picture that Marianne shot when this was going on and started shooting pictures.
Yeah, because remember, I was trying to get it to light up out there for you guys.
Yeah, watch that. Bam.
Yeah, and the one that you have over here to the left, you have one circle. To me, it almost looks like 2.
Yeah.
That there's a separation there. I don't know.
Now,
Definitely
remember when I told you guys that this thing had, each cannon had, 6 to 7, maybe even 9 guys that would run those cannons? And we were hearing something that was either horse galloping or cannon fire. This could be a classic residential haunting right there we caught on photograph. Some pretty cool stuff. So again, we have a couple more pictures too with orbs and those kind of shadows and stuff. Again, I'll put that in the Discord so you guys can check that out. And we'll probably eventually end up linking them to on panicd.com and all that stuff. And that's kind of cool. So, hey, we have come to the point in our presentation where it's our turn
to ask you
some questions. So, let's go ahead and do that. First of all, well, no, I'm sorry. We got another section first. I forgot. I lied.
You got them all excited.
There was a couple comments that we got on the video that came out this morning that I wanna mention and put out because they were quite interesting. That goes along with this case. First of all, ATJH Travels, and Hannah's still in here. Actually, I just saw a comment from her. That's awesome. But they mentioned that they were at this spot not that long ago, and they were hearing drums and flutes playing.
Yeah, and that's pretty awesome. So drums, flutes, potentially either cannons firing or horses galloping. So that's pretty cool, all in that same spot.
And I don't know if Mary Ellen Clark is still here, but she was here a little bit earlier. She posted a comment, and I replied back to her, but I want to talk to it about it here a little bit. She asked, even though we had spirits that were interacting and answering questions and stuff like that, it seemed like some of them were residual, which is right, like help me, and some of the stuff was just popping out that wasn't part of the questioning. She wanted to know if it was a residual type haunting. The one that said help me in particular. And is it possible that they can be crossed over? Okay. If they're stuck here in some sort of limbo state. So basically my response back to this, and we got PSPR here and a couple other, I don't know if they're still in here, a couple other paranormal groups, but here's my response. But if you guys could chime in on this too and provide your theory. I said that there's most definitely a combination of intelligent and residual haunting going on at that place because the traffic that we were getting activity was just off the chart. So I think both is going on there. Mm-hmm. And also, as far as crossing over, if it is a residual haunting, no, you can't, because that's just energy replaying over and over and over and over again. However, if they are intelligent spirits that are stuck there, I throw it. Why do you keep looking back? Because
I think you must be touching the table, because Boris is like moving like crazy back there.
I'll move it. But if they are intelligent spirits that are stuck there in a limbo state, what I put back in the reply of that comment was, what if they passed on and they went through judgment and it's some sort of purgatory where they have to relive that for their sins that they committed because they were in war, and let's face it, folks, thou shalt not kill. Maybe they have to relive it for a certain period of time before they can move on. But very interesting comments, and that's the kind of stuff. Tracy does the same thing too, just to kind of spur up the intelligent conversation. I love those comments. But I had to share those with you guys because those are very cool. Now, here's the section that is questions for you guys. All right, here we go. Question number 1. Who do you think Rebecca was?
Yeah, did you think that it was somebody that we talked about? Which person would that be? Do you think it's somebody completely different? What's your thoughts? So you guys go ahead and leave some comments.
Let us know, who do you think Rebecca was?
Leave some comments for us here in the chat, and we'll see what your ideas are. Hannah said that she sent the video that she's been talking about to the Instagram, so we will...
Gee, thanks, Hannah, and I gotta go figure that out.
And let's see. PSPR says if they want to go... but if it's residual, they're stuck.
Yeah.
Pusha Studios, back for a moment. Laundry. I have to do laundry too. Munchie's ready. Yes.
Did you post a question out there? Okay, folks.
No, we asked them their question.
Who do you think Rebecca was?
So.
The nurse seems possible.
Yeah.
Or plausible.
Sorry. Same thing.
Don't have my glasses.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So,
what was the nurse's name? Rebecca.
The nurse was Rebecca.
Pennypacker.
Price.
Pennypacker Price. The nurse who loved that soldier. Okay, so we think it was a nurse.
Okay.
All right, next question. Which spirit, now the way we have this worded is it's either one or the other, but it could be a third option is somebody else. Yeah. But do you think Vignos or McCleary is the man without the arm, the spirit without the arm? And I'm going to add to that,
it's them or
somebody
else?
Completely
mm-hmm.
else.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'll put that back up so you can see it. Well, why don't you type it in there? Why don't you type the question in?
Okay, I'll type a question in.
Hey, we're on Poose's big TV now.
Nice!
How do I look? How's my big Reese Cup shirt look on your TV? Does it look huge? Stop raining. Where'd the frogs go?
They went to hide from the rain.
Tracy says her grandmother's maiden name was Price.
Really? Was she from Pennsylvania? Because I know you're not from Pennsylvania, but maybe you had relatives that were there at one time in your history? Could be related to her.
Okay, so Dallas Guppies is saying Vignos, and Hannah is saying someone else.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to throw out a religious question.
Now be nice to each other.
Be nice. Should I wear a pair of Peeps shirt for PJs tonight? You should be wearing a Parapeep shirt 24/7.
Oh my gosh. She has to wash it sometimes, Sean. Jeez.
Oh, man. Oh. All right. So the next question. Here we go. Do you believe that in order to enter, and I'm glad you're back, Pusha Studios, because this is actually a Catholic question. Do you believe that in order to enter heaven, eternal peace, our bodies have to be whole? What do you think about that? No religious wars, please.
Yes. No, thank you.
Just what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because that was kind of interesting. You know, I converted to Catholicism through the use of a dummies book. And I said earlier I was going to go get the dummies book and look that up and see if that was in there. But I never heard that before.
No. And I know, like, I want to be buried.
Well, you're just creepy. You want people to dig you up. That's why.
But I want people to dig me up in 200 years and learn about our culture and our time the way that I did when I dug up the cemetery. So
we're getting no. Yeah. See, I never really.
And
heard about that.
I didn't really hear much about that.
I will tell you a little bit more about that Native American thing because I read that part. She didn't, so I kind of know about it. Mm-hmm. The Native American belief about the women used to go out in the fields after the battle, and that's where like scalping and stuff came from. It started there, but then the warriors started stealing the scalps and things like that. But they believed that that's how they would appear in the afterlife, in the spirit world. So they would go out and they would do certain things to the fallen dead so they didn't come back and bother them anymore. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of... See, I told you. I should have put up a creep warning.
Yeah.
Don't be looking up research. We got another stuff. We got another question.
Well, were you going to read their responses or just not acknowledge that?
Pusa says yes by church rules. Yeah, see, I had never heard of that before, but okay. Seth Opal, no, we are made of energy. Bill says I converted to Billism.
Oh my goodness.
The Church of Billism. That's awesome. All right.
Wow. I don't know about you guys.
Can we ask the next question? We're like...
I guess, if you want to.
Okay, next question. Do you think the woman with the lantern is Rebecca, another mother unknown to us, Felinda Humstead? There's another word. She's got 4 names.
Yes,
Emerson?
Yeah, but I didn't
Felinda
really do
Emerson
much with her
Humstead Barnes.
The only 2 husbands that I was like, I had a lot of research and I've known for years was Humiston and Barnes. Her first husband, I really don't know much about, so I forget his name all the time, so I didn't put it in there.
So, do you think the woman with the lantern is Rebecca?
Rebecca, Felinda, or somebody else?
Lantern is Rebecca, another mother unknown to us, or Felinda Humiston Barnes. They're still arguing about religion.
I knew that one. I knew you were going to need to give that one more time.
PSPR is a pastor, minister. I am as well. Yes.
Yep. He got his little piece of paper.
I was baptized Christian. Okay, so growing up, I went to Baptist, non-denominational, Methodist, baptized Christian at the age of 30. Then when we were getting together to get married, I converted to Byzantine Catholic because I wanted to take communion when we went to church. Mm-hmm. And, they didn't want to convert me because nobody's converting to Catholic.
Yeah, they're like, you don't have to.
You don't really have to get married. And I'm like, no, I really want to because that's a church that we're going to. but I also am a Christian minister, so I'm trying to cover all bases.
He wants to get to heaven no matter how. He's like,
All right,
I'll
so we
make
got,
it some way.
Okay, so we got Rebecca. And then, did you approve me on Twitter? All right, so Pusa Studios is really upset because Steph Opal hasn't approved her on Twitter yet. Steph, sweetie, dear, please just do it.
It's Pusha Studios.
It's Pusha.
Come on.
It's Kitsenja. You got to do it.
You got to do it. Come on.
Sid Hart says it's the lady from The Conjuring. Dyla says it's another person.
Yeah. So, as far as Tracy says with Rebecca, it's possible. I mean, who's to say that the nurses didn't go about at night checking on the patients too,
Yeah.
So it could seriously be that.
How cool would that to be to see, though? Since the lady, like when we were standing there, this lady just walked over
up to us and be like,
lantern and
"Hi,
be like,
children."
I can't believe that they're allowed to go on the battlefield to do ghost tours, because all them women, not all, most of those women that do the ghost tours in Gettysburg dress in black and carry a lantern.
Yes.
And it's like really it's really cool to watch.
Yeah.
And then you see like a bunch of people following them. So, okay, it's a ghost tour.
Okay, so I have to, since you brought that up, as we're waiting for more people to respond, when we were on the tour where they were talking about the Belle of Baltimore, we were literally sitting on that rock wall, and but at the corner up by the street, and they're having the 100 Days of Taps this summer. So in the National Cemetery every night, was it 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock. I want to say it's 7 o'clock. They're having taps be played at the Soldiers Monument. So we were standing there, and literally the National Monument's not like, a football field away or so. And we were standing there, and we heard the taps playing, which was super cool. And then about 5 minutes later, we saw a guy dressed in Civil War uniform walking across from the National Cemetery, and then walks down the street right next to us. And I'm looking like, is he real?
Is that the apparition?
I'm like, is he real? And I looked, and I'm like, he's human. He's got a water bottle. So he
didn't walk up to him and do one of those.
No, because I was watching him, and he pulled a plastic water bottle out of his pocket, and he was drinking it. I'm like, oh, it's not a canteen.
So H. Caster's going to go play games with her mom. Hey, good night. I will take a look at that, and I will get back to you. Steph, looks like Steph's leaving. Oh, no. H. Caster's leaving, saying goodbye to Steph. Said goodbye to Pusto. Thanks for hanging with us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Do you think the Belle killed herself? I don't know.
They didn't find her body.
I think Belle's the one.
Went back home.
Well, no, I don't know. I think she just, because from the way I remember the story, she was just a little bit.
Well,
maybe something could have happened to her. She ran out of money. She was looking for her husband. She was by herself. She ran out of money, and I would bet that nobody in the town of Gettysburg would take care of her because she was from the South, that kind of thing. So maybe just something bad happened, and it's hard to say.
Yeah, well, I want to believe that she went home, because
well, if you want to have good thoughts,
because she
just
already
gave up and went home.
Yeah, she already had so many issues. She was broke now. She's literally living in the woods. Nobody there likes her.
Yeah.
It's been months. She hasn't found her husband. He's probably not there, or she's probably never going to find his body. So go home where your friends and family are.
Yeah.
That will help take care of you, and that's my hope.
Okay, so here's the next question. It is rare that, and we've said that a couple of times, that we get that much communication happening for that long period of time, because it was over an hour. And so we're asking you, why do you think we got so much activity at that location? We were standing at the edge of a parking lot right on the corner of the battlefield, where we knew, now we have photographs that there was an encampment there. Why do you think there was so much activity?
Yeah.
Why were we capturing so much activity? What's your opinion based on everything that we presented tonight?
Because we want to make it happen again. you know,
we want to do it again.
As researchers, that's the whole idea, is to try
and that's a good point that before we got started...
collect as much.
No, before we got started, Joanne was playing Civil War music. Mm-hmm. Could have kind of stirred stuff up. Mm-hmm. And the date was July 10th. So, July 7th was that picture snapped of that encampment.
The name was Viola. I don't know what... the name you gave, what was her story, any information? Which one? The nurse, Rebecca Price? Or were we talking about the Belle of Baltimore, the name that we found?
You're babbling.
Amelia.
Tune in. What are you talking about?
Amelia. Their question. I'm trying to ask them.
Oh, ask them to ask more. So
yeah, so I know
which
woman we're talking about.
Viola. I don't remember a Viola.
So there was Vignos. That was the guy.
Vignos was the guy. Yeah. The name
it was
gave,
time. The time. It was close to the date. That energy.
Viola. I don't remember a Viola.
No, we had Amelia and we had Rebecca and we had Vignos.
The time, it was close to the date in the interview.
The Bell name.
The Bell name
that was Amelia. And we're not really sure if that is 100% her name. That's the name.
I know which one she's talking about. It's the one with the question mark.
Yeah. The Belle of Baltimore.
Belle of Baltimore.
Yeah.
It was Amelia Gatch.
Gatch. Yeah. Yes.
She's asking what was the story about Amelia Gatch. You said that, and I wasn't paying attention to you. How did you get the name Amelia Gatch?
The name was...
That's what the local ghost tours say.
Yes, the local ghost tour, it was Ghostly Images, had a page that talked about one of the tours that they were going to do, and they named her in that particular tour as the Belle of Baltimore.
That's the one that we were just talking about. She ran out of money.
Yes.
Okay. Amelia Gatch. Yeah.
So they think it's because it was so close to the date, or maybe the music stirred it up. I wonder if it's also, like, not only that, but the fact that that area is the least visited, and so therefore probably one of the lesser investigated. Although it would make sense to investigate there. It's literally a parking lot right up against the battlefield, and you can't go on the battlefield in the
tell
dark,
you what,
you know?
any paranormal group that goes out to Gettysburg to do that investigation, that is a free location. We were there. The police drove by maybe 3 or 4 times, never come up and said a word to us, and it was quiet. I mean, that's a good location to go to.
They probably kept coming up, make sure we didn't cross that wall.
That's right. And you know, if you do investigate and you get some of the same stuff that we did, please let us know. And I did send a message out to Michael Scott, because I think he's going in September, and I'll tell him, you know, I can show him where that location is, because I would love to see another investigator go there and see if they get Rebecca, see if they get, you know, compare. I can't wait to go back and do it again.
I know. Me either. I want to go back in November so bad. I don't know that it'll happen this year, but I really, really want to. It's the 155th anniversary. It's not 150. We were there for 150 in July also, but still anniversary dates, and it's 155.
We've tried stuff on anniversary dates, and it's been whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we did get a lot with that, and it was fun putting that video together. Mm-hmm. So, of course, PSPR, he gets stuff all the time, man. Always.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I kind of picked up on something on that interview that Michael Scott did that kind of makes sense. Let me ask you guys something that you guys are watching right now. Let's say we did an investigation at a location and we really didn't get that much. Do you still want to see the investigation? He does it anyways, regardless of whether he gets something or not. Mm-hmm. And some of his stuff might just be something very small, which in most cases is what we get, just small stuff. Mm-hmm. But yet we're asking those questions and still going through that. Do you still want to see those videos? We're just kind of blown away because this investigation was just the whole time hopping. Bam, 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 bam.
And I think that's a question that's relevant. I mean, for us, I like showing the reality rather than what you see on TV.
Oh yeah, it's not like the TV shows.
This particular investigation, it was almost like, hey, this is a TV show because look, they piled all the responses up, but we,
I was on a live stream the other day, PSPR. I think you were on there with me, where the lady said that, well, on this TV show they debunked blah blah blah. Give me a break.
Yeah, but see, there was a Twitter post, I think it was, that I was following along with within the last week, and maybe that's where Michael Scott's point came from. Was she was getting bad feedback because she was showing stuff that nothing happened.
Yeah,
and she said she didn't want to show only stuff that there was, but I don't know if that's what drove Michael Scott to talk about it or not.
Well, in some of his videos, there's not very much there, or very little. And that happens. That happens probably 90% of the time. You go somewhere and it's nothing.
Yeah. So we were there for 7 days. We got there on Monday and we left on Monday. And because that was one of the questions that somebody asked, and they said PSPR and Panic D Videos should collaborate in Gettysburg this fall.
Absolutely. Mary Ann wants to go in November. She wants to go for the anniversary reenactment of the Gettysburg Address.
I do. And the problem with that is it's in the middle of the school week.
And we're going to San Diego.
In November also.
So as far as taking
like the
off
week
additional
before.
time,
it's like the week before.
No. Yeah.
I'll be in San Diego, and then, oh, wait, by the way, I'm going to leave and go here,
November 9th or 19th?
9. Well, 9 is the biology conference. 19th is the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah, I got the numbers mixed up. So.
Yeah. So,
all right, so we're like at our end of our presentation, so we're going to open it up to any questions that you guys have for us. We do ask one tiny little favor at this point. Once we say our goodbyes and all that stuff, and this thing's done rendering or whatever, if you come back and leave us a comment answering, what did we come up with?
What was your favorite spirit story from?
Yeah, which was your favorite spirit story? And you could just come back and say, I loved it all. I can't wait till the next one. I don't really care. But when you guys do come back and comment on these live streams, it helps them to kind of convert over to be videos that could potentially someday get picked up by the algorithm. But that would be pretty cool, and we would appreciate it. But you have to wait till it's done rendering. It might take a little bit of time because we're over 2 hours, so you might have to do it tomorrow. Now, by the way, Parapeeps in here, we may not have a location video tomorrow because what are we going to do? We already talked about the history. We already talked about our personal experiences. You saw the paranormal claims and all that other stuff.
You were part of the investigation.
Yeah. So we may either skip, not do a video tomorrow, and kind of maybe take the day off. I don't know, maybe. Or we might go live real quick and show you Harvey, who's out in the driveway. We might go out there, get the equipment out, and explain what an obelisk is, what an SBS7 is, what else did we use during that video?
You used
K2 meter, show you how that works, that kind of stuff.
SB11 also.
The SB11. We can do that out in the driveway with Harvey. Can't do that in the house. That's breaking our own rules. We don't want to open that portal up or do anything in the house. But we could do it out in the driveway. So that's our thoughts maybe for tomorrow. But I don't think we're going to have a location video for Eastern or East Cemetery Hill because we covered it.
And really, there's not much...
Fourth video about it.
There's really not that much history for a history video portion. You know what I mean? Because...
Unless we detailed the battle, but...
Yeah, I'm not real good at the battle.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
Donnie Show's back. How you doing? Welcome back. Welcome back. So, Dila, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Dila, Guppies, whatever. You mentioned binge watch. If you look on our channel, under the playlists, we have them grouped by type. So every Tuesday we do a ghost stories and folklore, and it's narrated by our buddy Boris right here. About the paranormal claims and that kind of stuff. Those come out on Tuesdays, but they're under ghost stories and folklore. And then we have videos that are location videos where we kind of tie up the whole location. We normally cover the history, our personal experiences, and why the place is haunted, which we just did tonight. And there's some other ones, like Marianne's got some recipe videos, paranormal recipe videos, our live streams. We go live every Saturday at 5 o'clock on Let's Talk Paranormal, that kind of stuff. So if you go look at the playlist and you really want to binge watch, you can just pick a playlist and watch it. And we'd appreciate it because we need the watch hours. Oh.
I don't know what's with PSPR's like million question marks. Said that he was gonna head out.
Yes, Harvey and equipment. If not tomorrow, sometime. All right, might do that tomorrow.
And it's Dila.
Oh, PSPR. I got a question. Well, what's your question, buddy?
How does Sean keep his hair like that?
Is that what he asked?
Yes.
How does Sean keep his hair like that?
Lots of hairspray.
Why are you giving away my trade secrets?
That's my job.
It's hairspray. It's tight.
You guys are so silly about that hair all the time. Let's see. Steph Opal, are you coming to New Orleans, Louisiana?
Steph, actually, we were talking about that maybe next summer.
Possibly.
Joanne. Now it turns out that Joanne's future sister-in-law, her on the other side, her fiance's sister lives in where she live, 45 minutes from New Orleans. And they asked us if we wanted to go down there with them next year when they go. So we might. At some point we're going to get there, but it might be a reality next summer.
Yeah.
So
Tracy said she thought he was going to ask if you were on vacation.
Yes, I am on vacation.
Donnie has 10 shifts left.
10 shifts.
And he had a rough shift today.
Oh, sorry to hear it, buddy.
Time to relax, he said.
Have a brew.
That's what he said.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but you got bad time at work.
Yeah,
that sucks.
It happens.
I'm not looking forward to myself. But you know what? I need to get in my mind.
You get home.
I need to get in my mind that
it's all
just let
okay.
it go. Yeah.
Yes.
Tomorrow's a better day.
Yes. We love you too, PSPR. All right. Am I on
so where are you at now, PSPR? What's your number? I think he said he was.
Yeah, I'm in Top Chat again. I don't know why
I've been
that
in
changes.
Top Chat all night.
I don't know why it changes that thing all the time. Let's see. So Dila is going to check them out. She said it's Dila. She gave us a phonetic pronunciation.
We're gonna check. We're gonna check out yours too. Actually.
Yeah.
Where's she at? Let me go and add you.
So anybody else have anything that you guys want to chat about tonight? PSPR says they are at 8:25.
8:25.
You guys are flying.
You are on fire, my
Yes,
friend.
yes.
175 away from the big 1,000.
Yeah, and they just hit
He's on fire.
They just hit 750 like
he's working
yesterday or something. It was crazy.
He's working it hard.
Yeah.
He's been out there all day. I saw him every once in a while, different places. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, if you guys don't know PSPR, I mean, you'll probably see him in a lot of live streams. He's working to try to break the 1,000, and then him and I are starting a new channel for virtual ghost hunt, and we're going to be putting together like tutorials and stuff for smaller YouTube channels that kind of explain how we hit 1,000, and some of the stuff like Pusa does when they do the shoutouts and stuff like that. But there's different things that we've done, like we've used like Tweezly and things with Twitter and how to find stuff in our niche and things like that. Like having a paranormal channel, it's hard to find other paranormal channels, but there's a way you could do it with Twitter. So we're going to do videos like that and how to use Discord or how to do different things to kind of help out your channel and grow on YouTube. But Virtual Ghost Hunt is a collection of videos from other paranormal channels across the YouTubosphere, and you can actually go and watch those. And if you follow it on Twitter, which is Virtual Ghost Hunt, or Hun, with no T because it was too long, every hour it tweets out a different paranormal related video, and you can check those out.
So Sid has a question. He wants to know why somebody doesn't just go bless that place and make their souls rest in peace.
Sid, let me ask you back about this question because you're in India and I don't really know your religion. If you commit a sin... Alright, I'm just going to explain it in the Catholic religion. If you commit a sin, before you can pass on, you go to purgatory. There's a lot of spirits that don't pass on in fear of that judgment because they're going to say, hey, you're not, that's Catholic's purgatory. Other religions is like, no, you sin, boom, you're going straight downstairs. There's other religions that say there is no downstairs, all that other stuff. If you think about it, these soldiers were doing a duty, yes. They're sacrificing their lives, yes. They're fighting for a cause, yes. However, they're killing other people. So what I said before, is it possible that they did cross over and that's their form of purgatory? Because like with McCleary, we know for sure he was Catholic. Or is it residual? A residual haunting is something that takes place normally in a location that has really high traumatic energy or high fun energy, celebratory energy that continues to happen over and over and over again. If there's something to feed that energy, that it's like stuck, it's like imprinted onto time basically, and there's something to feed that to keep it happening over again. And I'm going to tell you something about Gettysburg. That whole area, limestone. Limestone is a stone that is believed that could hold energy or those imprints. Traumatic, definitely a traumatic area. The Battle of Gettysburg, 3 days of pure hell that went down. There's rivers that run all through there to get energy. And the thing that was interesting that we noticed during our investigation was that K2 meter just going off. And it's like the end of a parking lot, the battlefield, there's no electric around there. The only thing that was there was the light above us. So where was that energy field coming from? Mm-hmm. EMF is electromagnetic field. That's the energy that the spirits feed off of to manifest. Mm-hmm. So, and there's also theories that we heard that there's ley lines. If you follow that theory, there's ley lines that run through Gettysburg too. Yeah. So,
and I also look at how many times individuals were buried and reburied on those grounds as well, yeah. Because they were buried where they dropped, and then they were sometimes moved to mass graves, and then once they had the national cemetery set up, then they were moving them over there, or they were moving them in burial plots over in Evergreen, or the soldiers' families came and took them home. Sometimes they didn't get all the pieces, parts of the individuals out of the graves as they were moving them from grave to grave, because it was July. It was hot. It was a soupy mess.
Here's another theory that'll blow your mind there, Sid. What if we were able in that particular area, okay, that in particular segment, we had the ability to communicate with another dimension? That'll really blow your mind if you start looking about the theories of time and dimension and that kind of stuff. What if right there was what's called a vortex? Something at that area that allowed that communication with other dimensions or spirits to cross back and forth from our realm to that realm. So I am sure, I would probably bet money that entire area, I know across the street's consecrated ground because it's a cemetery, but I bet that whole area has been blessed at some point, maybe even multiple times, especially since that is the area where the veterans would come back and do the reunions. So, they would say prayers and do things like that. And, I don't know. I'm kind of going off the rail.
So he wants to know if that means that most of war soldiers do not pass to peace.
No, I'm just throwing theories out. They're just theories. I mean, I'm not saying that's how it is or not how it is. I'm just saying something to think about.
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. It's based on whatever happens. I'm not saying that. It could just mostly be residual.
Right.
Yeah. The record that it happens over and over and over and over. And there's a lot of reports of residual hauntings.
Yeah. And also, in this particular location, most of the area is governmental property.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not just, bringing everybody out there to do all kinds of consecration and prayers and having people cross individuals. Most of the time, they say that there is no haunting, that there isn't paranormal paranormal activity. They don't want to talk about it. So if they don't want to talk about it or recognize it, why would they have someone come in and help people cross?
Yeah. Yeah. Some interesting stuff, especially what we captured and what we presented to you guys. Very interesting, cool stuff. So
yeah. So all kinds of ideas, thoughts, things like that. So Tracy is asking about the virtual channel. She wants to know if that's a collab channel.
Yeah, it's a collab channel, PSPR and Panic D Videos. We're super sponsors, but basically we're running it. And we'll be collabing those shows and videos that we put together. But it's also, some of the other paranormal channels that we meet up with, we're trying to help them out. And, there's others that have bigger numbers than us, so we put them in there too. But it's just something, it's called Virtual Ghost Hunt. So you remember how, I was putting out the review dumps, those are on there. We want to talk to some locations that could put up live cams. So you can watch. If we go live with investigations, we can stream them off of there. But there's also a collection of paranormal related videos that's in a database that from other channels. They're embedded. So you can actually just go and watch them, or it tweets one out every hour on the Twitter account. So we're adding a little thing to the back of that to help out other channels. And we're kind of gearing it towards paranormal channels, but they're tips and stuff that could help any channel. It's just, we got to keep the paranormal creep stuff on it. But we went live last night just as a test doing a hangout.
You did?
Yeah, you were.
It's on logs.
You were way gone.
That happens.
And we had some people come in and we were chatting and testing things out and things like that. And yeah, it's just something, because I was starting to do that on Panic D Videos way back when I started, November, December, because, you guys know what I do for a living. I work for the school with IT, but we also own a company that we do consulting on internet marketing. And I never was able to have the time to figure out how YouTube works. Now I have. You know, I concentrate. I'm like, this is it. I need to learn how to do this. So I kind of learned like I mean, look at our numbers.
It's a constant learning curve, though.
Well, no, I'm kind of getting the hang of it. You know, I got certain videos, things I'm trying out to get high numbers on videos. But we started out in November of 2017 with 23 subscribers. Now we have 1,233 subscribers in, what is that? It's 8 months. So, you know, just little things that we do to kind of get your channel out there so people know what you're doing. That kind of stuff. So,
Okay.
PSPR, 16 subs away.
No, already.
Already.
I think he might be talking about your virtual ghost hunt.
Oh, 16 subscribers on Virtual Ghost Hunt? See, that's cool.
I'm glad you guys like it. We're getting a couple of comments about liking the formats and bringing people information and opening their minds and things like that. So that's pretty awesome.
You got to. I mean, that's what makes life fun, is to open your mind and be open to different things and love people and do unto others as you want them to do unto you. That's the number one rule that I live by, is I treat people the way I want to be treated. And that's the number one rule. And if you could put a smile on somebody's face, you put a smile in your heart. So as long as you live life by that, you know, but we like to we love putting this together today. It was gorgeous outside. We could have went and did something or whatever, but we like called it. She's like reading me stuff and I'm doing stuff. I'm like, we're just bouncing back and forth. I mean, this is just notes. Just look at this. This is just stuff that we just found.
And I didn't use some of it, but that's okay.
Yeah, but
other times for other stories.
We love that you guys like to hear this stuff, because it's like we put it together, and before November, before we started making videos and building up the channel, we would put all this together, put some links on Panic D or whatever, and then it would go in a binder, or it would just, we read that, or we bookmark it, and then do nothing with it. You know, it's just, and it'll all add up, and then it was like, what's the point of doing it? Why are we going to do this? We're forgetting what's happening. We go and experience that stuff. We take all these pictures. What are we going to do with it? Who are we going to share this with? Boom, our haunted travels.
Yeah.
So
In the Woods with Wolfie said that they sent a couple of pics through Twitter for us to look at. So that'll be good.
Well, let me bring up the Twitter account. By the way, too, guys, if you haven't, there's our Discord. Let me bring up Twitter.
So Tracy says she's hiding in the corners of YouTube. I told her we'd keep a lid on that. I think I just lied, though, because I just told everybody.
What's that?
Tracy. She says she's hiding in the corner of YouTube.
That's okay.
And Steph says she's happy we do what we do. Thank you.
I can't see these.
What are you looking for?
These are, I think these are the pictures he sent us, but I can't see because I don't have my glasses on.
The leaves are watching me. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I see that.
I could bring this up.
It kind of looks like maybe a little skull peeking through there, but it's just leaves. Your mind does.
Is it okay if I show these pics in the woods with Wolfie?
The second one, I don't know. I didn't see it long enough. How's the second one look?
If you don't mind me showing these, I'll put these up on the screen. I like to ask permission first.
I like to watch too, Tracy. I don't
Yeah.
post anything of my own. I just sit here with him.
I'm going to show her. You know what? I do have to say, she does help out a lot. I wish she could help out a little bit more, but we're working on it. Okay, we're working on it. But I do have to say, her narration, like I'll get her a script, or I'll write a script, or I'll find something. I say, please go record that for me. When you do those history videos, they're done. I just got to take the narration and make the videos. Next step is I got to show you how to make the videos. Now that don't happen. All right, so here's some pictures. I think we could bring that up bigger. All right, the leaves are watching me. See the face right there? That's kind of cool. See that? These are from In the Woods with Woofy.
Yes. That's pretty nifty.
So where'd the other one go?
And the other one there. This part right here.
Yeah, it's
blown up over here. Looks like an Indian princess, he says.
Those are some kind
They're
of
pretty cool pictures. Definitely cool pictures. Let's see if we can see your little... I don't know if I can see it or not. Nope. I didn't see your things. Your mouse. Oh well. Let's see. The pictures that he sent were both right in his yard at the cabin.
Really?
That's awesome.
That's a beautiful location for a cabin.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Especially that.
Yeah, that location is...
I want to go to his cabin.
Oh, goodness gracious.
All right. Well, hey, folks, I think we're going to call it here, wrap it up. We are going to be back live, I guess, probably, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe. Thinking about it. I don't know what time or whatever. I'll post it in the Discord and on Twitter, and hopefully notifications would work. I don't know. And then we'll go over the equipment and show you guys Harvey. And then we are definitely 100% live. Saturday live at 5.
Yes.
For Let's Talk Paranormal. And we got to do Paranormal Pictionary for bottle caps. And if bottle caps does not show up during that live stream, I think we all need to go bombard his channel and say, why didn't you show up at Panic D videos? They donated their show to him. Nah, he might be here. We'll see. So we're going to come up with
some paranormal things.
Pictionary. Yeah. We don't have the document camera to do it, but
so we'll just have
to
hold it up to the camera.
Or I can figure out how to do this one.
Oh, yeah, you could do that too.
Yeah.
That would probably be better. His secondary camera there. Yeah. Party at Wolfie's.
Party at Wolfie's.
My dad doesn't allow investigation at the cabin.
I'm sorry, guys. I keep looking
inside
down.
Either.
I don't.
He's reading.
I don't have my glasses on, so.
Sorry, we don't do investigation in our house either, so.
No, that's why I said while Harvey's here out in the driveway, we could go sit in Harvey and turn the equipment on.
And show it to you.
I don't allow myself to do them in here because you never know when you get into that kind of mode what could come over, and I don't want it in the house. I know Father would probably come back and bless it, but...
Yeah, why not? It's okay.
They gotta explain to him.
Yeah.
Well, Father...
My wife goes and buys all kinds of weird things, and then we have this whole ghost hunting thing.
Can you imagine Father coming in here now with Boris?
He came in here with...
turn the candles on again.
Oh, yeah. He came in when we first got the house.
It wasn't set up yet.
I thought it was.
No.
It wasn't set up yet?
That's when I lived here. Your stuff wasn't here yet.
But I brought my stuff over before I lived here.
No.
Was it?
It wasn't here yet.
Okay. All right.
I know for a fact it wasn't.
Okay. I have creepy stuff. I always have. No investigating. Just hang out in the woods with Wolfie.
Everyone's going over the Wolfies.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you very much. Love all you guys. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for chatting
Coming
with
in.
us, having some ideas, bouncing some things back and forth off of us
that was
and
a
with each other.
Very
and
cool investigation.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah.
Very much
It was one of my favorite. Like literally, I loved it.
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see you guys again here very shortly, within the next day or two. And hey, guess what? Are you ready? You're typing. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Until next time,
Thanks for watching.
and happy hunting.